veterans like Beth by visiting woundedwarriorproject.org/empowerwomenvets.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studios, we are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis. It's time to get up and get your day started. Morant. A jawbreaker! It's Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. The first hour of Sports 56 Mornings is brought to you by the Big Green Egg. Now, here are your hosts, Greg and Eli.
Well, we did it again. We've made it to another Friday. Almost through another week. Good morning and welcome in to Sport 56 Mornings. It is indeed another Friday edition of the program. The Friday, October 11th, 2024 edition of Sports 56 Mornings. I am Eli Savoy. Greg Gaston not here today. Elijah Seegers is, so it's just a couple of Elis hanging out in the Family Leisure Studio. The Elis are taking over the world.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's right. Absolutely. Well, at least we've taken over the Family Leisure Studios today. We have taken over the Family Leisure Studios here for a Friday edition of Sports 56 Mornings. It is good to have you with us, and we've got a lot of stuff to get to on today's program. This time of year, there's just so much stuff going on, and last night we had a little bit of basically everything in the world of sports. You had college football, NFL football, Major League Baseball playoffs, NBA basketball, albeit preseason edition, including the Grizzlies in action. You had WNBA basketball last night. We've got all kinds of stuff. We got the news from the SEC Big Ten meetings in Nashville. They had their meetings. Greg Sankey and Tony Petitti meeting with the media yesterday as well, talking about some of the things they addressed. We finally have an answer. The answer we were waiting for all day yesterday, or most of the day yesterday, of what the hell they were going to do with this Memphis football game, because there's just no way you could play it in Tampa. Finally, they realized, we can't play that game in Tampa. We got all kinds of stuff going on in the world of sports, and we are going to get to it on today's program. I mentioned we are in the Family Leisure Studios. Family Leisure, that's at 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. Go check them out. Whatever it is you might be looking for, whether it be a spa, whether it be maybe one of those massage chairs, whatever. Great stuff you're looking for, they've got it. It's all kinds of great stuff over at Family Leisure. And this hour of the program is brought to you by the Big Green Egg. First, to check the weather. And let me just tell you, it's rinse and repeat once again. The weather is just absolutely incredible. Every single day, basically the same right now, as we in the morning have temperatures in the mid-50s or so. And then highs today in the mid-80s. Plenty of sunshine. Expected to be the same for the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Now on Monday, however, there's a little bit of a cold front that's going to be coming through. Our highs to start next week, early next week, highs will only be in the 60s. That's the expected high temperature in the 60s. It will warm up as the week goes along. There's no rain whatsoever in the forecast for basically, I don't know when they're looking for the next bit of rain here in the Memphis area. But a lot of sunshine for your weekend and just absolutely perfect temperatures to get out, do some stuff outdoors, whether it be firing up that Big Green Egg or playing some golf or just sitting on a patio somewhere and watching some football action, which is always a great option. So last night, another Grizzlies game and another Grizzlies injury. Who would have thunk it? It's really unbelievable, quite frankly, at this point, that basically every time the Grizzlies step on the court, somebody gets hurt. And last night it was Marcus Smart. Had a steal, tried a little behind the back move to get out of there, went knee to knee with one of the Charlotte Hornets, goes down, asked to come out of the game, did come back in later, didn't look right, asked to come out again. Minor knee injury. much like Ja Morant's ankle injury, they say, like, if this was a regular season game, if, he would, he could play. If it was a regular season, he'd be able to play. But nonetheless, another minor injury for the Grizzlies. So now, I would assume, much like Ja Morant, they're going to be very careful with Marcus Smart the rest of the preseason. So now, probably for the rest of the preseason, not only, of course, you're without Vince Williams Jr. and G.G. Jackson because of their previous injuries. They're going to miss the start of the regular season. But Jaren Jackson Jr., Ja Morant, and Marcus Smart, 3 starters who are dealing with injuries. Again, all expected to be ready to go for opening night. That's what they say. But as we've talked about with trying to install this new offense, get these guys on the court together, because last year, obviously, you didn't get all these guys on the court together hardly at all. And now it's not going to happen in the preseason. No Jaren, no Ja, no Marcus, probably for the rest of the preseason. Maybe that final preseason game, they think they're all ready enough to at least get them some minutes together. Hell, at this point, with the way they're losing guys every time they take the court, maybe Desmond Bane should sit out the rest of the preseason, too. I might as well sit everybody out. Get Zach Edey out of there, get Desmond Bane, I get everybody. They've played 2 preseason games. 1 Ja gets hurt. 1 Marcus Smart gets hurt. So, and Jaren got hurt, of course, before the game started. In the actual game, the Hornets killed the Grizzlies, 119-94. Grizzlies defensively couldn't stop the Hornets. Mainly, they couldn't stop Brandon Miller. If you're looking for a guy who could be that breakout player this year, we talked about, and Ja got offended that some of the GMs voted for him to have the breakout season, which it is ridiculous. Like I think Ja's already had his breakout season. I don't know what this season Ja could do to be his breakout year. He's already been he was already good. Then he won most improved player. He's been an all-star. Like, I don't know what you can do as a breakout season for Ja Morant. But if you're looking for a guy who could have that breakout season, Brandon Miller could be that guy. He was good last year as a rookie, second in Rookie of the Year voting. But, if he plays like he did last night, wow. 6 of 8 from 3, 22 points, just looked smooth, looked fantastic, looked like what you expected him to be coming out of college. And, again, in large part, what he was last year. Also, Trey Mann goes for 19 for the Hornets. For the Grizzlies, leading the way was Jay Huff, the two-way guy. Jay Huff, 4 for 6 from three-point range, 15 points, 6 rebounds. And it's like people are like, oh my gosh, look at this Jay Huff. Like, what is this? He's knocking down threes. Like, he's a 7-footer knocking down threes. Jay Huff can do that. And Jay Huff, I think it was 2 years ago, was a first-team All-G League player. And he was, I believe, the G League Defensive Player of the Year, if I remember. Last night he had 3 blocks as well. Like, Jay Huff is a really good G League player. Really good. He's averaged, 15 or more points, I think, every year he's been in the G League. And then last year he did add the 3-point shot to it. He had shot some threes, but last year I think he shot 40% from 3-point range in the G League. Jay Huff has some skills. This isn't crazy stuff that what he did last night. That's crazy. Oh my gosh, didn't know Jay Huff could do it. Oh, Jay Huff's been doing that in the G League. Yeah, now how much does it translate into the NBA and into the regular season? All of those things. He's had little cups of coffee here and there. But he can do it. He can shoot threes. He certainly can block shots. And we'll see how he fits in. He's only on a 2-way contract. Don't expect many minutes to be there for him unless something were to happen to, an Edie or Brandon Clark or something like that. He's a fine guy to have around as a two-way player if you need for a game or two or some minutes here or there. Jay Huff can do that. He was good last night. 15 points, mentioned 6 rebounds, 3 blocks in the game. Desmond Bain knocked down 3 for 5 from three-point range. He had 17 points. That was good to see after he had struggled in the first game from three-point range. But again, we know Desmond Bain's going to knock down threes. Not concerned about that. But the Grizzlies pounded by the Hornets 119-94. 3 preseason games remaining. They'll take a little 2-game road trip to Chicago and Indiana. They'll play at Chicago Saturday, at Indiana on Monday. Will be the next 2 games before they return home to wrap up the preseason against the Miami Heat. Elsewhere last night, Major League Baseball. Cleveland Guardians forcing a Game 5 against the Detroit Tigers. They pick up the 5-4 win. It was a great game, fantastic game. David Fry for the Guardians. It's a pinch hit home run in the 7th to give them the lead after they were trailing. And then he lays down a squeeze bunt in the 9th inning to give them an insurance run, a run which they needed because the Tigers would get one in the bottom of the 9th, but Cleveland holds on for the 5-4 win. So they will go to a deciding Game 5 in their ALDS series. That'll be tomorrow night. For the Tigers, it sets up well. They've got Tarek Skubal ready to go for Game 5. Meanwhile, the Guardians, they're to be determined of who they will be starting in Game 5. So while the Tigers could not close it out, and now they have to go back to Cleveland, they do have Tarek Skubal, who's been one of the best pitchers in baseball this year, ready to go for them in Game 5. Meanwhile, the Yankees and the Royals, the Yankees close out the Royals and advance to the ALCS. 3-1 win for the Yankees. Aaron Judge finally gets a hit. He had a double, scored a run. Juan Soto had an RBI single. Giancarlo Stanton, another nice game for him, 2 for 3 with an RBI. We did have a stupid bench clearing. Can't call it even a scuffle, really. I can't even call it. I don't know. It was a bench clearing meeting around second base. I still don't understand why. There was clearly nothing happening. There was a slide into second. Yankees got somewhat offended by it, whatever. Jazz Chisholm decides to come over from third base to add some comments. And everybody's just standing around. But yet here come the bullpens just sprinting in. Why? What are you doing? Nothing's happening. You're just wasting energy running in for the bullpen just to turn around and go back. I mean, come on. I don't know why. And I still don't understand. If the bullpens are so anxious to get in the fight, why don't they just run at each other and fight each other? Why do they have to all run into the infield to get in with everybody else? Heck, if you want to fight each other, just run right at each other in the outfield and do your thing. Yankees have not been to the World Series since 2009. This will be their 6th ALCS since that last appearance. So we'll see if they can get back to the World Series as they await either the Guardians or the Tigers in the ALCS. Of course, tonight in the National League, Game 5, Padres-Dodgers. And as we talked about yesterday with Kerry Miller, there may be a little bit of interest in this game tonight from over in Japan. The starting pitchers are Yu Darvish and Yamamoto. You also happen to have a guy named Shohei Ohtani playing in this game. So, what time is this game in Japan? What's the time difference between here and Tokyo? I don't know what time it's starting in Tokyo, but I'm going to guess there will be a lot of televisions, regardless of what time it is, that'll be watching this game. And, of course, it's at Dodger Stadium. Dodgers are the slight favorite in the game, with it being at home. But I mean, I kind of like the Padres in this one.
Japan is a 13-hour time difference, so
Oh, gosh. So let's do that. So if this is a 7 o'clock game Central Time, they're 13 ahead of us.
yes.
So what's that? The 12 would be, so it'd be 8 o'clock in the morning, Saturday morning that they're, oh, yeah, they're up. They're up watching. It's kind of like us with the NFL games on Sunday mornings, like this week when you got one over in London.
Exactly.
Little 8 a.m. baseball. Folks in Japan are going to be all over this one. Padres, Dodgers tonight. Darvish versus Yamamoto in that one. Also last night, the NFL. 49ers get a much-needed win. They beat the Seahawks 36-24. Brock Purdy outstanding again. 18 of 28, 255, 3 touchdowns. Geno Smith, 30 of 52, 312, a touchdown, but 2 interceptions. Local product, Kenneth Walker, the third, held in check, just 32 yards on 14 carries. Did have 8 catches for 37 yards. Also did have a touchdown run. The 49ers saw Jordan Mason leave the game with an injury. Of course, no Christian McCaffrey. Mason's been in there. Mason's been great. He was off to a good start. He leaves the game with an injury. So we see Patrick Taylor Jr. from the University of Memphis get in there. He had 5 carries, also a catch. But Isaac Guerendo, 99 yards on 10 carries, the 4th-round pick out of Louisville. And after Seattle had pulled it to 29-24 late fourth quarter, 3 timeouts remaining, they kick it deep to the 49ers, thinking, all right, well, all we got to do is stop them 3 straight times, call the timeouts, we get the ball back, chance to go win the game. First play, Guerendo goes 76 yards, slides down inside the 5. 49ers run some clock, eventually punch it in on a use check touchdown, and they get the win 36-24. Seahawks have now lost 3 in a row after their 3-0 start. 49ers now 3-3 after they lost a couple in a row. One of the big stories that came out of this game, it's weird. There was a replay review in which the Seahawks on a punt, their punt returner, it appeared, touched the ball, and the 49ers recovered it. However, they did not rule that way on the field. Kyle Shanahan challenged that he touched the ball. It should be our ball. They review it. They come back and they say the call on the field stands. And Terry McCauley on the Prime broadcast said like this, it clearly touched his finger. There's clear video evidence that it touched his finger, and this will be overturned. And then the announcement comes that, no, it's not overturned. Call stands, and it's still Seahawks ball. Kyle Shanahan loses his mind. Later in the game, they go back to McCauley, who says he talked to the replay headquarters people. And they told him that the reason it stood is they did not have access to the enhanced video that was shown on the broadcast. On the broadcast, they did the little zoom-in deal, and you could clearly see the finger move when it touched the ball. But their replay center said we didn't have access to that video. We just had the normal stuff that was shown. How in the world is that possible? This is the NFL. It's I don't even know how many billions of dollars industry. How do they not have every possible enhanced video, everything they could possibly need to look at a replay? Like, could you imagine if that's a playoff game? And again, it ends up not mattering in this because the 49ers go on to win. But like, what if the 49ers lose the game? They should have had the ball inside, the 20-yard line. They forced a punt, but they would have had the ball in field goal range just to start their drive. Like, if that happened in the playoffs or something, and their explanation is we didn't have that video. How in the world do you not have that video? It's crazy. But again, the 49ers do get the win, 36-24. one other thing before we get to the break, we got John Varlas coming up. We're going to talk some high school football with him, but he's also at the high school state golf championships way across the state on the exact other side of the state in Sevierville. God only knows why they can't find a little bit more centrally located golf course to hold the state golf championships. Why they make Memphis kids drive all the way across the state for the state golf championships, I don't know. But nonetheless, he's there. He'll join us. We'll figure out, we'll get an update from him what's going on at the golf championships, what still has to happen at the golf championships, and we'll talk some high school football. There was a lot of high school football action last night. With fall breaks going on, this week and next week are a little lighter schedules, and this week there are a lot of games played on Thursday night, but we'll talk with John Varlas. But yesterday afternoon, we finally got the word. Talked about it all morning yesterday morning. They can't play this game in Tampa. You just can't do it. I don't care how badly you want to play the game. You can play it somewhere else. You cannot play a football game in Tampa on Saturday. I don't know what took so long, but finally, we got the announcement. Memphis and USF, they will play the game. They will still play it Saturday afternoon at 2:30, but they will play it in Orlando at Camping World Stadium. So, same, well, not the original time, but the date and time remain the same from when they originally moved the date and time. But now they move locations from Tampa to Camping World Stadium in Orlando. So good, smart move by the conference to, at least they're getting the game in. But again, there's just no way you could have played that game in Tampa. So smart move there to move that one to Orlando. And the Tigers, I mean, I guess in the end, this helps the Tigers because I can't imagine there's going to be a whole lot of fans at that game. So instead of being a road game with theoretically possibly a pretty good South Florida crowd, now I would imagine there probably won't be a whole lot of fans at the game at all in Orlando. Maybe some of those Tampa fans, but again, those people are trying to put their lives back together. They're trying to figure out what they have left of their homes and all the flames. I don't know if you saw this or not. This was, I guess, in St. Petersburg. I don't know. So Tampa, I'm sure, was pretty similar. In a 24-hour period, they got over 18 inches of rain.
Man.
What? In 1 hour, there was over 5 inches of rain. That is... I mean, I don't even, there is no place in the world equipped to hold 18 inches of rain over a 24-hour period. Goodness, the flooding and everything else, it's just, man, thoughts and everything to those folks down there in Florida. What a rough few weeks this has been for them. Absolutely brutal. This hour of our program is brought to you by the Big Green Egg. You can go to biggreenegg.com. Check out all the details. Check out the different sizes. They've got 7 different sizes for you to choose from of the Big Green Egg. And, of course, they've got all the egg accessories, things that you can, things that you can do on the grill to make it whatever you want to set it up, whether you're trying to smoke something for many hours or you want to bake a cake on there. They got a pizza stone. You can make pizzas on there. You can do whatever you want on the Big Green Egg. Plus, they've got the sauces, the rubs, the charcoal, all that type of stuff as well that they make themselves. They got their whole line of those things as well. And I love the rubs. I use a lot of their rubs and seasonings when I do my cooking on my Big Green Egg. Ace Hardware stores here in town, Hamilton Fireplace, they carry the Big Green Egg. They have all the accessories as well. Check them out. The best grill there is the Big Green Egg. Up next, John Varlas joins us. This is Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Be sure to follow us at Sports 56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows. Stay up to date with station events and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports 56 WHBQ.
When you think about insurance and you want great value without sacrificing great service, I want you to think one place, the Eflin Insurance and the entire Eflin Insurance team. Matt and his group of professionals will access 10 leading companies to find the right home and auto program that fits your budget and your absolute needs. The Eflin Insurance Team, the number 386-GER, 386-4777.
Welcome to Triumph Auto Sales, where you'll have a great car buying experience. Triumph Auto Sales is your #1 source of quality pre-owned vehicles ranging from lease returns to new car trades, all at huge savings. Plus, Triumph has a full array of financing options to meet your needs. Find your next car online at TriumphAutoSales.com or stop in today at 4875 Elmore Road. Triumph Auto Sales will help you get the vehicle you want at the price you need and the service you deserve. For a great car and a great experience from a local and family-owned business, visit Triumph Auto Sales.
Rick's Powder Coating for a beautiful finish every time. Rick's Powder Coating specializes in automotive, ornamental, residential, and industrial coating. With 2 conveyor lines and the largest batch ovens in the Mid-South, Rick's can accommodate all of your powder coating needs. Locally owned and operated since 2002, Rick's Powder Coating will customize a beautiful finish just for you. Drop by or call to see how Rick's Powder Coating can bring color to your life. 901-367-2771 or rickspowdercoating.com.
It's football season, and nothing goes better with Game Time Eats than chicken wings. It's a tradition like no other, but not just any wings. It's the seasoning that makes the chicken wing. And nobody does it better than the Crazy Coop at 7199 Stage Road, west of Appling, and soon coming to downtown Memphis. Over 32 mouth-watering secret sauces and counting, like the jalapeno cheddar and the barbecue bacon bourbon. And don't bother asking them for the secret recipes. No matter how large your tailgating is or the family at home, kick off your game day with Crazy Coop party packs plus special bulk prices. Visit crazycoopstage.com to customize your wings and sauces. Whole wings, boneless wings. Try the Crazy Hot Suicide if you dare. Add Parmesan fries and fried dill pickles. And don't forget the carrots and celery sticks. For the full menu, which includes juicy burgers, catfish fillets, chicken nuggies, and crazy kid meals, go to crazycoopstage.com. That's crazycoopstage.com. You'd be crazy not to visit the Coop.
Listen each and every Sunday morning at 11 to join Idlewild Presbyterian Church for worship. Idlewild is a PCUSA church located in downtown Memphis. Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. Trying to crank up a little bit more volume in the last few minutes down certain sections of 385 Bill Morris Parkway coming in from Collierville. It has picked up, however, southbound on Austin P as you get up on that ramp there to I-40. Still moving I-40 over here at Watkins as you approach the 101 connector. Hey, at the Humane Society of Memphis, Shelby County, you can adopt a pet and change a life. For more information, check out the animals online there at memphishumane.org. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Welcome back. 7:27 the time here in the Family Leisure Studios. Eli and Elijah. No Greg today. As we're just getting started on this beautiful Friday. Again, there's going to be another beautiful day with sunny skies and highs in the mid-80s all weekend long. That's what we're looking at, basically. And then a little colder start to the week next week, but then it'll warm up. And again, no rain really in the forecast anytime soon. That is for sure. It is great weather for golf, and the state golf tournaments are going on. And that's where our buddy John Varlas is, and we get a chance to talk with him next.
It's time for Greg and Eli's weekly visit with John Varlas on the Daily Memphian. Check out John's prep sports coverage and much more at dailymemphian.com. John is brought to you by Shoot 360 Memphis, where the pros and preps go to get their shot on Shoot 360 Memphis. Now here's John Varlas with Greg and Eli.
John Varlas from the Daily Memphian joins us on location all the way across the state over in Sevierville. And he, of course, is brought to you, John, by Shoot 360.
Yes, indeed. Hello, Eli, and hello to the listening audience out there. And yeah, Shoot 360 Memphis. It's basketball season is here. The Grizzlies, I think they had a game last night, right, Eli?
They did, indeed.
Yeah, basketball's getting cranked up. Pros, colleges, high schools, youth ball. So, yeah, Shoot 360 Memphis is the place if you're a young player, you want to go and and get your shot right, get your skills developed by the very best folks with the very best technology, that's the place for it. They've got 2 locations, the brand new one, and you can call them there, 901-779-3176, or you can visit the original location out there in Collierville on Market Street, 901-316-5500. Same great folks, same great technology, same memberships. You can do longer term. You can. It's a game of basketball. Shoot 360 Memphis.
John, we've got a little iffy connection here, so hopefully this is going to hold up for us.
Okay, sorry about that.
All right, so before we get into, of course, high school football and we get an update on what's going on where you are with the high school golf, do we have a bone this week?
No, we don't have a bone to pick. I'm sorry about the connection, though, buddy. I'll not move, and hopefully we can get through this.
So you are in Sevierville. How long does it take to get to Sevierville from Memphis?
Well, because I'd like to 6.5 hours, but you could probably do it in about 6 if you hustle and don't stop like I do. I like to make a leisurely drive, Eli. I frequently make.
All right, check with, if he's in a hotel room, let's call him in his hotel room instead of on his cell phone if we can, because again, he's in Sevierville. Apparently the cell phone service is not great in Sevierville. So, yeah, check with him, Elijah, and see if maybe we can get him on a better connection or, like I said, through actual hotel room or hotel phone. But, again, he's over there with the state golf tournaments going on in Sevierville, and then we'll see if we can get a better connection with John so we don't have to deal with these issues that we're dealing with here. But, again, with fall breaks going on, this week and next week, you got private schools, you got public schools, you got different schools are on fall break. We got a fairly light schedule as far as high school football goes over this week and next. And there were a lot of games for this week's games that were played last night rather. So for instance, you had Covington in action last night. Houston, Arlington played last night. Bartlett, Germantown played last night. Briarcrest, Wooddale was last night. Munford and Brighton was last night. There are some games tonight, but we'll talk with John about that and try to get an update on what's going on as far as the high school golf goes as well. But we want to get a better connection with John in order to do that. I know some of the stuff is already wrapped up as far as I think the girls, but we'll get a full update from him. A couple of text messages I did want to get to on some of the stuff we hit on in our first segment. Ron texts in and says, it makes you wonder what the Grizzlies do to stay in shape as far as strength and conditioning. It is weird that the Grizzlies, the amount of injuries, again, these are minor injuries that they're having so far, other than obviously the G.G. Jackson and Vince Williams stuff that happened in the offseason. But it is crazy that literally every time they step on the court, the Grizzlies deal with an injury. Matt texted in, he said, I think it was you that gave the stat yesterday, something about a team that loses in the playoffs, the team that beats them always goes to the World Series. Yes, this would apply to the New York Mets this year. The team that has beaten the Brewers, in the history of the Milwaukee Brewers, the team that beats the Brewers in the postseason goes to the World Series. Don't always win it, but they go to the World Series. There's never been a team that beat the Brewers in the playoffs that didn't go to the World Series. So, yes, that is the team. It would apply, obviously, to the New York Mets this year. All right, we got Mr. Varlas back. How are you, John?
Hey, Eli, is this better for you?
Oh, that's so much better. Much better. Now we got you.
I sure apologize for that.
No, hey, listen, it's not, you're not building the cell towers in Sevierville. So why do they go all the way to Sevierville for the state golf tournament? Like, there's a lot of great golf courses in this state. Like, it seems like they could find something a little more centrally located.
Well, I agree with you, and you know, certainly the local parents and coaches and players from around here probably agree with you as well. I mean, you know, like everything else, Eli, with the TSSAA, these events, you know, come up for bid, and you know, in this case, the course here in Sevierville submitted the best bid, and that's where it was awarded to have. It used to be in Manchester, Tennessee, outside of Murfreesboro, and that would be a little more centrally located, and then the contract for Sevierville ends after this year, so the tournament's going to come up for bid, and theoretically any course in the state could put together a bid, submit it to the TSSAA, and see what happens. But yeah, I mean that's the simple answer. The Sevierville Golf Club, submitted the best bid.
Well, I guess good for them. All right, so give us an idea. What has happened so far, and what still has to happen over there?
Well, some great golf is on tap for today. Actually, in Division II girls, the larger of the two private school divisions, kids from Memphis are actually 1, 2, and 3. So we've got Catherine Bowie from Hutchison School. She shot 4 under 66 yesterday on it's a really tough course here, Eli. As you can imagine, with the hills and everything, it's a lot different from our courses back home. So, really tough course for these kids, but she went out yesterday and shot 4 under 66, and, pretty amazing story. Right behind her in second place is an 8th grader from St. Mary's, a young lady named Jada Lynn. She shot 3 under, so she's a stroke back, and Jada's teammate, Hannah Barber, is in 3rd place. So with Jada and Hannah being 2-3, that puts St. Mary's in 1st place in the team competition. They're 9 strokes ahead of Chattanooga Baylor, so they're going to try to hold off Baylor today and bring home that team title as well. And, like I said, great shot for Memphis to win an individual title as well. And then on the boys' side, it was a really, really good day for MUS yesterday. They shot 3 under as a team, which, Eli, when in high school you play 5 players and you score 4. So to be under par as a team is really, really impressive. And they're tied with Brentwood Academy in the team standings. They've got three guys in the top 7 individually. So it potentially could be a very big day for MUS as well.
Wow, under par as a team. That's incredible.
Yeah, it is. I mean, they had a really steady day. I mean, they had, their best guy was 2 under. Charles Snyder was 2 under, and then they had another guy that was 1 under, another guy that was even. So yeah, everybody's right around par, and Brentwood Academy, even though Blades Brown, the great junior golfer, has left for greener pastures and PGA school and all that kind of stuff. I mean, they've still got an incredible team too. I don't know where Brentwood Academy gets all these great golfers. They had a kid that went out yesterday and shot 8 under, which is just an amazing score on this course. So yeah, it should be a really, really good day for golf for the local kids. I'm honored to be here. It's like in Memphis, the weather's beautiful. It was a perfect day yesterday, just a little bit of breeze, and we'll see how it goes today. But yeah, it could be a really good day.
So it's the final round is today.
Yeah, 2-day tournament. Yeah, Thursday and Friday. Yeah.
And so this is just the private schools for this, right?
Well, there's also the large public schools competing too, the Colliervilles and the Bartletts. But yeah, nobody in contention really from Memphis in those tournaments.
Okay, all right. The high school football, I mentioned, it's a little weird because once we get to fall break time, you get these, a lot of teams have their bye weeks, and you got kind of a couple weeks here. And then this week, there's a lot of games played on Thursday night. One of the big games last night was Bartlett shutting out Germantown 19-0.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Germantown, that is really going to put a big dent in their playoff hopes. I mean, that was essentially an elimination game in that really difficult Region 8 6A, because both of those teams went into that with 2 region losses, and now Germantown's got 3, and it's going to be, it's not mathematically impossible, but it's really hard now to see a path for Germantown to get into the playoffs. And all credit to Bartlett. They had lost 2 in a row going into last night. Not played particularly well, but they got a tremendous defensive effort. Obviously, that's the first time in 5 years Germantown's been shut out, and they got a tremendous game from Jaron Johnson, the Mississippi State commit, who's been banged up this year. He had that great game against MUS to start the year. He got banged up a little bit, but, now it looks like he's back to full health. He scored all 3 of their touchdowns, had 295 yards on the ground, and,
with them having the regular quarterback Cam Alexander missing that game last night, he was the focal point of the offense, the run game, and they leaned on Jaron pretty heavily last night, and he really delivered for him.
Our buddy John up in Covington, as he does, texts in, and Covington, your number one team in your Dandy Dozen, no problems with Liberty Tech last night with a 62-6 win.
So ask John, when is Covington going to play somebody? My goodness.
Listen to this.
No, I'm just teasing. That's a region game, and there's nothing they can do about that. But yeah, that was a bit of a breather last night for Covington, and in fact, I'm kidding, because they will play somebody next week. They after the weather problems and things earlier in the year, they were able to pick up a game against Haywood County, which is one of the better 4A teams in the state, and even though that's not a region game, that's going to be a really fun game for them next week. But yeah, no, Covington just keeps rolling along. 2 more touchdowns for Skyland Smith. And congrats to him too, Eli, because last week he broke the school's all-time touchdown record. He already broke Covington's all-time rushing record earlier in the season. So I mean, you can debate it, but the numbers will probably tell you. The numbers bear it out that Skyland Smith is the best running back in Covington's long and proud history. Just based on the numbers, at least. Another
blowout last night in 6A was Houston blowing out Arlington 55-0. So I guess maybe is Houston back on track after they had the stumble?
It would sure seem to be, Eli. I mean, they got a chance to get a lot of different guys in the game last night. I mean, Chandler Day only attempted 6 passes, but he completed 4 of them, and all 4 of them went 4 touchdowns. DJ Miller caught a couple of touchdown passes. Andre Allen caught one. Owen Wagner caught one. Selly Davis ran for 100 yards and a couple of touchdowns. And all this was in the first half. I mean, that game was put to bed early, and they, like I said, they got a chance to get everybody in there in the second half. And Chandler's brother, Cannon Day, who's the backup, he's a freshman, and he's truly got the potential to be a special quarterback by the time he gets to be a junior or a senior. He even got into the action and got a touchdown last night. So, yeah, great night for Houston. I mean, they do seem to have things back on track, and that victory went a long way to they're in the playoffs, I would say, but that victory went a long way to securing them possibly a top 2 finish in a home playoff game. A lot for Houston is going to depend on that regular season finale on November 1st when they play Collierville, which leads the region right now and is the only undefeated team in the region. So that one's going to be huge on November 1st.
Yeah, you just kind of talked about with Germantown with their loss on it, but how is that Region 8 in 6A right now kind of shaping up as to who's got the kind of the inside track?
Yeah, so Collierville for sure. They're the only undefeated team in the region. They're in great shape. Houston has 1 loss, and Whitehaven also has 1 loss. Whitehaven is off this week, and both of those teams have 1 loss. And of course, if they stay with 1 loss, Whitehaven would have the tiebreaker because they beat Houston head-to-head a couple of weeks ago. And then, like I said, Bartlett currently has the 4th spot, based on last night's victory. And Germantown and Arlington, Cordova, and White Station, they're 5 through 8, and they're on the outside looking in right now.
But Bartlett still has Whitehaven, is that correct?
Bartlett still has Whitehaven, yeah. Collierville still has Houston.
Wow.
So there's still some good games left. Yeah, there's still some games left to settle things. So it's definitely not set in stone right now, but as we stand right now, that's what it looks like.
I have to believe this was a bit of an upset last night. Westwood knocking off FACS.
Boy, it sure was, because I was actually at that game last year because like this year it was a bit of a light schedule, and I actually was at that one last year, and FACS really handled Westwood easily last night or last year, and yeah, it looked like Westwood. I saw some video, Eli. They drove down and scored on it looked like the final play of regulation, and and that's just a big win for those guys. I mean, programs like Westwood. I mean, Eli, everybody's out there working hard, and sometimes your results aren't what you want them to be, and sometimes your numbers aren't where the coaches would like, and things happen over the course of the season. So so to go in there and play a good FACS team and get the victory like that, that kind of thing means a lot to those guys, and it's good to see. It really, really is. Even though it's a non-region game, it doesn't necessarily mean anything in terms of the playoffs. That's really something you can hang your hat on and say, hey, guys, we can build on this. This is what we can do.
John Varlas joining us from Sevierville. We'll take a break. We'll come back with more with John, talk a little bit about some of the other action that's going on this week in high school football, and get his thoughts on a couple of other things as well. As, again, he is on location this week doing it. He's everywhere. There's high school sports going on. John Varlas ain't missing it. Even if it's all the way across the state, he is there. It's what makes him the best there is here in the area. John Varlas from the Daily Memphian. More with him coming up as we continue here at Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned in to real sports talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Hello, sports fans out there. Walker Taylor here with the Germantown and Collierville Commissary. We just celebrated our 43rd year in business, and I would like to thank our fantastic customers and especially our loyal staff. Time has flown by. We now have a second location, Poplar and Houston Levy in Collierville. Catering is a specialty of ours. 50 to 5,000, no job too small, no job too big. Full service or self-service. We also have a party room in Collierville that is great for rehearsal dinners, business meetings, you name it, we'd love to have you. Also, our barbecue party packs start at $8.75 a person. Barbecue, beans, slaw, bun sauce, including serving utensils. Especially great for tailgating with football season coming up. The commissary restaurants also believe in giving back to the community. Possibly you have been approached by somebody selling a barbecue six-pack coupon for fundraising. Cheerleading groups, church groups, anything to help a worthy cause. Holidays are near. Smoked hams and smoked turkeys will be on the pit before you know it. Come see us at Germantown and Collierville Commissary. Also check us out at commissarybarbecue.com.
Family Leisure is having the world's biggest spa set. It's happening right now. You can save thousands on in-stock hot tubs that are ready to be delivered. Family Leisure has spas that start at just $28.99. You know those cold plunges? You can get one for yourself starting at $39.99. Or how about swim spas? They start at $17,499. Plus, Family Leisure has set up special financing just for this event. Have you been sitting on the fence about an above-ground pool? Get off that fence and get to Family Leisure to take advantage of huge discounts on all their in-stock above-ground pools. And if you need some patio furniture, it's all priced to move out now. It's not too late to have some summer fun, courtesy of Family Leisure. But you better hurry up. The world's biggest spa sale might go on forever. Family Leisure. Whitten Road at I-40. Family fun come together.
Looking for an engagement ring that'll really knock her socks off? You need to be at Genesis Diamonds. It's such a privilege at Genesis Diamonds for us to work with the world's finest designers, to be able to offer brands like Tacori and Verragio, and we're excited to be able to give you something your audience can. Genesis Vice President David Cooper, the craftsmanship, the detail, the quality, the individuality is bar none better than anything else. Genesis has been selected as an exclusive provider for every top designer from New York and California. To choose from. And if that's not enough, they can create something that's truly custom craft you literally anything you can imagine. We have the capabilities to realize any dream you have. Things that other stores may call new. We've been doing it for 3, 4, 5 years already. So don't settle for a maybe still design. You deserve. I'm David Cooper from Genesis Diamonds, and I'm excited to see you on the show. It's extended.
Spencer here with ATC Fitness. There's no better time of the year than now. Football and fitness go hand in hand in the fall. And with individual individual screens on each piece of cardio and multiple big screens throughout the rest of the club, you'll never miss a bit of the action watching your favorite team. ATC Fitness continues to be the Mid-South's choice for fitness, family-owned for 30 years, and proud supporters of Coach Silverfield and the Memphis Tigers. Join online at atcfitness.com. ATC Fitness. Exercise your right to look good.
Welcome back here in the Family Leisure Studio, 7:49 the time. Eli and Elijah. No Greg today. John Varlas joins us from Sevierville in the state golf tournament going on over there. Of course, John brought to you each and every week by Shoot 360 Memphis. And if you want to keep up to date with what's going on, not only at the state golf tournament, but all the stuff going on in high school sports, you can follow John on X at John Varlas. That's how good John is. John's in Sevierville, but yet last night was still keeping people up to date on what high school football action was going on in Memphis. That takes talent.
Well, and not only that, but girls soccer and volleyball are in the playoffs. It's like magic, isn't it, Eli?
It's amazing. I was like, I'm finding. I thought he's in Sevierville, but he's like I thought he's. I'm like, he feels like he's at these games. He's telling me everything going on, but yet he's doing it from across the state. Did have a text from somebody on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener line at 901-360-8255. Actually, a couple texts. One texter says Covington versus Martin Westview will be a good game in the last week. Bet the over.
Well, I don't know about the over, and I'm certainly remiss to give out any gambling information about high school games. But that will be a huge game. Both of those teams are ranked in the state in Class 3A. Covington was actually second in the state this week, behind only it seems like they've won the last 50 state championships. Alcoa, they're first, obviously, and Covington is second, and Westview is also ranked too. So yes, that's going to be a tremendous game. So anybody in the West Tennessee, kind of the outskirts area, that's going to be the game. One of the games of the year for sure in the state in 3A. That's going to be a massive game. The over, I couldn't tell you what to say about that one, but it should be a really, really good game.
Another text here asks, how is Mitchell High doing this year?
Mitchell's really good. They're gonna certainly make the playoffs in Class 2A. Got one of the best defenses in the state. We've talked about this before with Max Preps. Their statistical rankings, you have to kind of take them with a grain of salt because not every high school in the country obviously reports their statistics to Max Preps. But among the ones who do, they've got a player named Kendarius Robertson who's one of the sack leaders in the country. He's got 15 sacks, and that's in just 6 games. So outstanding defense from Mitchell. They lost their first game of the year last week to Middle College, but again, that's a non-region game, and Mitchell's fine in Class 2A. They're going to make the playoffs, and they've got a chance to make some noise. They really do.
Meanwhile, yesterday here in town, not on the field, but the AutoZone Liberty Bowl announced the coaches for their annual AutoZone Liberty Bowl High School Football All-Star Game, which will be broadcasting here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. And hopefully John will join me for that broadcast again because I need his expertise for that. But Ed Kirkendall from Sheffield and then C.J. Marshall from Bolton named the 2 coaches for that game.
Yeah, and to get the housekeeping out of the way, Eli, I'll be delighted to join you and be your sidekick again. That's a lot of fun. And congrats to Coach K and Coach Marshall. I mean, those 2 guys are friends. They're also rivals there in Region 8 3A. And it's good to see schools and programs like Bolton and Sheffield represented on that big AutoZone High School Liberty Bowl All-Star stage. I mean, and Eli, the playoff situation too in that region is just super interesting right now as we get toward the end of the regular season. So Bolton's in first place, and East and Sheffield are behind them. Each of those teams only has 1 loss, and they've all lost to each other. Bolton lost to, well, I'm going to forget, but they've all lost to each other. So it's a round robin where they've all kind of beaten each other, and tiebreakers are going to come into play, and it's just going to be really, really interesting to see how that one shakes out. But yeah, congrats to Coach K and Coach Marshall. Two guys really, really doing a great job at programs where they don't have a lot of resources and a lot of bodies and, a lot of money and that kind of thing. So, yeah, it's really good to see those guys honored and recognized this year.
Sheffield beat Bolton. East beat Sheffield. Bolton beat East.
Right. So how do you figure that out in terms of a tiebreaker?
I removed myself from the situation, but there was some trash talking yesterday at the at the luncheon they had. There was some trash talking going on between the two head coaches. I like it. It was fun stuff. That was good. Good to see.
It was, and looking at the assistants too, it's cool to see the AutoZone Liberty Bowl getting some some of the newer blood in there. Coach Morrow from Melrose, I saw where he's one of the assistants, and Coach Wiseman from Memphis Business Academy. He's doing a tremendous job with that program, and and of course some of the older guys too, like Cedric Miller at Mace. I mean, you got a good mix, and I think it should be a fun AutoZone Liberty Bowl high school all-star game this year. We've really got some good senior talent in the area, and probably some kids that a lot of people are unfamiliar with that are really, really talented. So it's going to be interesting to see how the rosters shake out, and then of course the game itself.
All right, before we let you go, I got it because you're a Padres fan. So what do you think about Game 5?
Well, I don't know, Eli. I really try to keep my expectations low in these situations. They've already surpassed my expectations of what they could do this year. So I'm one of these fans where I'm not going to get too disappointed if they don't make if they don't advance past beyond tonight, because they've already surpassed my expectations. But I think as a country, we're so divided and torn these days on a lot of issues. But I think we can come together in our mutual hatred for teams like the Dodgers and the Yankees. Can we at least do that and at least get on the same page and come together against the forces of evil in baseball?
Well, okay, but if the Dodgers do beat the Padres, it's the Dodgers versus the Mets. So it's not like you got some plucky little upstart on the other side that doesn't spend money.
Oh, and that's the thing. I really got a bone to pick with this, plucky underdog Mets narrative, and they've got, the budget that's the gross national product of many countries around the world. Yeah, it's ridiculous. The Mets and their shoestring budget and their Francisco Lindors and their Pete Alonsos. Get out of here with that plucky underdog stuff.
Yeah, we could end up with a World Series. We could still end up with a Subway Series. We could also end up with Yankees Dodgers. I mean, there could be the whole spending money gets you there could come into play this year. That's for sure.
Well, it could, and I'm and again I'm so thankful for the television broadcast and their Ohtani updates. Letting us know how many at bats he's away, so that we can all drop what we're doing and watch Ohtani bat. This series is kind of gotten on my nerves a little bit, but I'm keeping my expectations low. Whatever happens. I mean, they've played really good ball this year. Machado and Profar, Tatis, Jackson Merrill, those guys. It's been a fun season. It's been a great to watch it, and whatever happens.
I like your chances tonight with Darvish on the mound. Yamamoto has struggled a bit, so I'm liking your chances with Darvish on the mound in this one. So best of luck to your Padres in Game 5 tonight. Hey, have a good time over there. Enjoy the golf. Enjoy the beautiful weather, and we look forward to seeing you back in Memphis.
I sure will, Eli. If I have time tonight, I'll go over to Dollywood and get you guys some souvenirs, and I'll bring them into the studio next week. Looking forward to seeing you guys.
I appreciate it, John. Thank you very much.
Oh, bye-bye.
John Varlas joining us from Sevierville State Golf Tournament. Again, he's brought to you by Shoot 360 Memphis. That wraps up hour number 1. Coming up to kick off hour number 2, the Executive Vice President of Football Operations for the UFL, who also just happens to be a fantastic analyst for Fox NFL and so happens to be a 3-time Super Bowl champion for the Dallas Cowboys. Daryl Johnston up next. Sports 56, 98.5 FM.
Memphis, it's official. Crab King Seafood is where it's at. For the most flavored seafood and the biggest plates, run to a Crab King's near you. Visit the Bartlett Cordova location at 7140 Stage Road. The price, the portions, the service is why Crab Kings is number one. So don't be disappointed in seafood. Make the right choice the first time and every time. Make it Crab Kings. Crab Kings have only locally grown catfish. Come and devour tasty snow crabs, king crab, shrimp, salmon, catfish, calamari, and so much more. Enjoy Memphis's best tasting pasta with your choice of toppings. Visit the Bartlett Cordova location at 7140 Stage Road. Crab Kings is open Wednesday through Sunday. Enjoy 50% off lunch portions and dollar fountain drinks. The number one name in Cajun seafood is Crab Kings Seafood, a Memphis favorite. Crab Kings, 7140 Stage Road. Kings with the Z.
Guns, and more guns. Over 700 firearms in stock. Home defense guns, old guns, new guns, used guns, big guns, little guns. Every gun you can think of, Classic Arms has them. All brands like Glock, Sig, Colt, Ruger, Smith & Wesson, Browning, Beretta, Benelli, Remington, Winchester, and more. Guaranteed lowest prices in town. Only gun importer in the Mid-South. Free gun inspections and appraisals and free bore sighting for the upcoming deer season. Shop online at ClassicArmsOfMemphis.com or visit Classic Arms at 1740 Germantown Parkway behind Quirky's Barbecue in Cordova.
Most shoppers today fall into one of two categories. You could be like Dave, who settles for nothing but the finest.
I drive only European luxury sedans, wear the finest Italian leather shoes. My shirts are custom made, and I expect white glove service from those I do business with. I appreciate world-class brands, and at this point in my life, I just don't want to compromise on quality, no matter what I buy.
Or you might be like Steve, whose goal is to always get the best deal.
Or improve. I'm all about finding value. I want the best price, and I don't mind going out of my way to get it. Work hard for my money. I just want to make sure when I buy something, I can have confidence in knowing I'm not overpaying for it. It's not being cheap, it's being smart.
You never see these two guys in the same store, except for one.
That's why I shop at Genesis Diamonds.
Genesis Diamonds is that rare shopping experience where you can have it all. Uncompromising luxury and unbeatable value. Exceptional service and the guaranteed best price in America. A premium experience and a smart purchase. This is where the best of all worlds come together. Genesis Diamonds, Memphis' direct diamond importer, and power programs extended.
You or someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce, you need the attorneys at Rice Law. Nick and Larry Rice lead the firm with 3 generations and 7 decades of experience. Located in Memphis, serving the entire state of Tennessee and North Mississippi. Rice Law is who you need to call. Simple or difficult divorce, they know how to handle it. Call Rice Law at 901-526-6701, or for more information, visit them at aboutdivorce.com. That's aboutdivorce.com.
Jenkins Floors and More invite you to their retail warehouse where they pass wholesale savings on to you. Jenkins Floors in Little Rock, Cleveland, Mississippi, and now open in Horn Lake at 2356 West Goodman Road. Specializing in flooring and carpeting, tile, plantation shutters, and blinds, Jenkins makes your life easy with a 2-week turnaround. Contractors, builders, or family projects, call 662-469-9350 for a free estimate. Owners Timmy and Rebecca Jenkins say hello to Sports 56 fans and look forward to your business.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. Just a couple of minor problems up to this point. It's trying to build up through the Midtown area just in the last few minutes. Northbound on 240 at Lamar. Still holding up right now. 55 over here at Brooks and Elvis Presley. Watching it build just a bit up through South Haven. On 55 coming up from DeSoto County as well into South Memphis. At the Humane Society of Memphis Shelby County, you can adopt a pet and change a life. Check out the animals they have up for adoption right now by logging on to memphishumane.org. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis with Dave Woloshin, weekday mornings from 10 to 11.
Now back to Sports 56 mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers.
Genuine diamonds, baby.
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
8:03 here in the Family Leisure Studios, hour number 2, Sports 56 mornings on this Friday morning, October the 11th. Another beautiful day on tap with a lot of sunshine and temperatures in the mid-80s. Looks like it's going to be that way all weekend long. And then a little chilly to start next week with highs just in the 60s early next week before it warms back up again. But no rain really in the forecast at all for quite some time here in the Memphis area. Good to have you with us. I'm Eli Savoy. No Greg Gaston today. Elijah Seegers is here as well. Again, last night in the world of sports, you had the Guardians force a Game 5 against the Tigers with a 5-4 win. They will play Game 5 tomorrow night. Tonight, Game 5 between the Padres and the Dodgers in the Major League Baseball playoffs. Meanwhile, the Yankees did advance to the ALCS. They got a 3-1 win over the Royals last night, so they await the winner of that Game 5 between the Guardians and the Tigers. Meanwhile, the Padres-Dodgers winner tonight will move on to take on the New York Mets. In the NFL last night, it was the 49ers knocking off the Seahawks 36-24, and the Grizzlies were in action last night down at FedEx Forum in preseason action. They fell to the Hornets 119-94, and Marcus Smart left that game with a minor knee injury. He is expected to be okay and ready to go for the season opener. And in case you missed it, the Memphis-South Florida football game, it was finally announced yesterday afternoon. It has been moved to Orlando. They will play at Camping World Stadium in Orlando Saturday afternoon at 2:30 Central Time. Well, yesterday we had new Showboats coach Ken Wisenhunt in studio with us. He was in town along with a lot of folks from the UFL. The league president, Russ Brandon, was here. Also in town was the executive vice president of football operations, Daryl Johnston. As they went around, they met with a lot of folks here in town, did a lot of stuff while they were in town, and trying to show again their commitment to Memphis and earn the support of folks. Tickets will be going on sale next week for the Showboats for this season. So look out for that coming up on Tuesday of next week. But earlier in the week, while he was in town, Daryl Johnston came by and joined me and Greg here in studio. And this is our conversation with Daryl Johnston.
Absolute pleasure to be joined by the Executive Vice President of Football Operations for the UFL, a three-time Super Bowl champion, Daryl Johnston, joining us here in studio. How are you?
I'm awesome. How you doing?
Fantastic. Great to have you. Look, we're a ways away from the start of the second UFL season, but there's a lot that has to happen in between, and I know that you guys are busy. But first, let me ask you about last year. First year, the merger, USFL teams, a few of them, 4 teams, I guess. XFL, 4 teams came over. You put them together. You created the United Football League. Your overall thoughts, and then we can get more specific about what you saw last year.
I thought it was a positive step. One of Russ Brandon's big things that he talked to us about was the merger was finalized on January 13th. We're going into training camp, less than 6 weeks later. So, you hear that analogy, building the plane while you're flying it or drinking from the fire hose. I think we were drinking from the fire hose as we built the plane when we were flying it. I think the football was the first thing that came together, and this is really interesting. In today's world of Zoom conversations and Zoom meetings, since the pandemic happened, we were forced to actually come together on the football side. And I really feel that really helped jumpstart that group, really getting to know each other and blending the two different cultures from both of the leagues and really kind of solidifying around the UFL. I think the business side, with the inability to come together like that and have to do most of their work remotely via Zoom, you never really got to meet each other and spend time with each other. So right away, we started pushing for all the business to jump in with some of the stuff that we were doing from a football sense. So we were trying to create a culture of really when you can meet in person. And I think that's something that we've gotten away with in today's world since the pandemic hit. So I thought football came together, and then we pulled the business side along. It was hard on the business side because you didn't have that off-season cadence for your calendar. And that's been the biggest difference this year, just talking with Steve, who's working with us here in Memphis, and just, being able to have a pace that's manageable, not feeling panicked, all the time, which all of us were. We all had that sense. And until you really start to sit down with each other and talk to each other and get to know each other and get that comfort, I think it was one of the more challenging things that we had to go through. And there's so much more. Everybody wants to know about the success on the field. And the one thing I've learned in this position since my first year with Legacy USFL is how much that's not related to football that comes across your desk that you have to deal with and maintain. I miss football. It's one of the things that you have to carve out a certain portion of your day. And I was on the road just recently, and talking to Antonio Pierce, and as an ex-player, how much at times do you miss football, and how many things you do have to deal with that are football related but not football. He goes, I carve out 45 minutes of every day to sit down and watch and evaluate players, watch practice. You're doing everything in the meeting room space, but for him, just to have those 45 minutes on his own to go do something that he wanted to do that's football related, not something that was brought to him to be football related. So that's one of the things that I've got to do. I've got to find a way to kind of carve out that 45 minutes to an hour where I can just kind of sit down and here's what I wanted to do today in relation to football, and really kind of keep my connection there.
With this now going into another year here in the market, in the Memphis market, you talk about obviously a full timeline for selling tickets, all that stuff, but kind of how do you guys look at Memphis as a market for the UFL in comparison to some of the other markets?
We can't wait to really help this market kind of get back on its feet. Again, I think that we had a couple of markets last year that probably were hit a little bit harder than others. We were down in Arlington, year over year. We were down in San Antonio year over year. We were down in Houston year over year. We were down even in Birmingham. I mean, Birmingham is our 3-time defending champion, and we're still trying to get that community really to buy into what we're doing. So we get it. Last year we got to own a lot of that stuff because it was on us. But what we want to do here is now with all the renovations that are going on at the stadium, and really kind of having that full cadence in the offseason that we talked about, is really get into the community and kind of start building those connections and those relationships with our partners that are going to be here in Memphis. And there's history with these types of league here in Memphis, and you can look at it one of two ways. You can look at it as, well, it always seems to be a challenge because those leagues always fold or they leave. Most of the times they're folding. One of the things that we fight for, and we did this back in Legacy USFL, is to build that confidence that we're going to be here. And Birmingham is the great example. Alongside of you guys here in Memphis, they've been another city that has always been targeted by these leagues, and everybody leaves Birmingham as well. And we've had to work really hard to rebuild their trust as well. So we need to do that here in Memphis. And that's one of the things that we're really going to be focused on is rebuilding that trust with everybody here in Memphis. We hope that the renovations at the stadiums are a positive. We know there's been some hurdles that we've had to cross that have impacted what we're doing here. So, the biggest thing about what we're doing right now in our time here in Memphis over the next 2 days is it is a fresh start from our perspective. Bringing in Ken Wisenhunt, bringing in Jim Monos, to be the foundation for the showboats moving forward. So there's a commitment here. We want the football to be played at a high level. We want that support. And the hardest thing is the way our business model is kind of shaped, right? If we're doing our job the right way, we're turning that roster over 20, 25, 30%, hopefully, to give these guys a chance. That's hard for communities to connect. I always wonder how today's NFL fan connects with their team because of free agency. Are you a fan of that team because of the players or because of the team? When I grew up, I was a Miami Dolphin fan, and I remember, the Dolphins always being there. And then the World League of American Football came around, and they took Larry Zonka, and they took Paul Warfield, and they took Jim Kick. And I didn't want to go to the World League of American Football and watch that. I wanted to stay and watch the Miami Dolphins because that's really who my team was. And so, I don't know how people do it in the NFL today with so much player movement, and then we've got that element here. So we've got to find a way to connect with these communities and connect on a deeper level. So it's not just the players, it's actually the team and the organization.
I'm older than you. I'm old school. I go back. I was a fan of the Colts. I've always been a fan of the Colts. I helped move the Colts, literally helped move the Colts to Indianapolis because...
In the middle of the night?
Yes, I was a Sigma Chi fraternity member, and we worked for Mayflower on the weekends, and we moved them.
That's awesome.
But my point is that I've been a Colts fan through and through, and I do believe that people have their allegiance toward a team and not toward the individual players. I think, although young people today, I just don't know. But your point, Daryl, about the time is pivotal. Because I remember last year when we talked about this, and Steve came aboard, and he's done an unbelievable job. But I remember talking with Eli on the air and saying, wow, how are they going to get this thing, get the vibes going? It's already January. When's the season's starting? So now, here we are in early October, and you guys are here in Memphis, and you're spreading the word. I think that's going to be very important to build a fan base.
The biggest thing is to start to generate excitement. And when you've got so much unknown like we did last year, we couldn't do that.
Yeah.
So there's so much more. And on top of that, you've got change, and you've got positive change. And this is no disrespect to John DiFilippo or Dennis Pauling and what they did last year. They were such great teammates for us. But when you have a parting of the ways and you're refocused and you're moving in a different direction, to have the opportunity to bring somebody like Ken Wisenhunt into the fold, it is a great opportunity. And I think the fans in Memphis are going to love him. One of the things that our coaches are really good at, and they get this, there's so many things that we ask them to do. We're asking them, it has to be a league first perspective in what you're doing. We know you want to win championships. We know you're trying to help these guys reach their dreams and get them another shot back in the NFL, and hopefully they stick this time. But amongst all that, you've got to be an ambassador for the team. It's a little bit of a league first mentality, because that allows you to have the success as individual teams. Just listening to Ken, talk about it just this morning was, he's perfect. He gets it. It's great when you have a guy like Bob Stoops and Wade Phillips and Skip Holtz, and they've been there and they've done that, and they love the game, they miss the game, they want to be around the game, and then to have some younger guys, like a Reggie Barlow up in DC who's trying to, is this the career that I want to do? That's the mix that we're trying to create. For young guys to be able to see Mike Nolan at a practice and ask him, some advice on what my career path should be, and what would you have done in this situation? Did you ever have these moments, early on in your coaching career? So, it's always, what we can do, and bringing in the best talent that's there to really make sure that this league, we put it on the most sound foundational footing we possibly can.
With that, with a guy like Ken Wilson, when you're doing that coaching search and looking at that, how do you weigh it as a guy who's been around it for a long time, or maybe looking for somebody, maybe a younger person who's kind of on their way up, and how you guys want to have those in their certain markets in this league?
Yeah, we had a really good list this time, and it was a really nice mix of exactly how you explained that. One of the things that we want to do is we always want to be able to take a look from within. Working with Cincinnati this year, I think it was week 3 we had them against the Tennessee Titans, and just talking to them about the consistency that they've had, and when they have change, what do you do? Because we asked Zach Taylor, you guys start out on these 0-2 campaigns every year. Have you ever looked at everything? And he went in depth of, I've looked at our schedule, I've looked at how we do training camp, I've looked at this. He goes, but then you have to understand that there's some unique circumstances that have created this each year. And I didn't want to give up or change what we do, because I really believe in it. And that is hiring from within. We always wanted to be able to hire from within and give somebody else a different chance. And when you lose a guy like Brian Callahan, and he goes to Tennessee to become that head coach and have that opportunity, and he takes a couple of guys from his staff to go with him, we've got people below that we can elevate up. And it's that same system. It's the same detail that we've been talking about. We're not bringing in somebody else that may take a while for that personality to connect. So I really liked his kind of analogy of hiring from within. So that's definitely something that we did in the UFL on this go around, and we had several of our coaches within our league express an interest. We got a couple of them into the interview process. A couple of them came down and really did a great job for us, and that helps us because those are names that we're going to keep there. And then we continue to get interest from the outside, and I think that that's one of the more validating things for what we're trying to do. When we had Mike Nolan reach out to us after season 2 and Legacy USFL and express an interest in being a part of that, I had reached out to Ken, I think during that same time, and he had just started his venture at Alabama. And so for him, when the opportunity became public to reach back out and say, hey, here's what I've heard, is that true? And if so, I'd love an opportunity. When you have people like that reach back out to you, it really kind of validates what we're doing. And so that's that element of balance. Yep. We want to be able to promote from within. We want it to be some of our younger guys who are trying to aspire to get to that level, but then we also have that ability to pull in like a familiar name. And how do we balance that? What are the critical elements that we're looking for? And for us, on this go around, Ken Wisenhunt just seemed to be the perfect fit for what we were looking for in Memphis.
The Executive Vice President of Football Operations for the UFL, Daryl Johnston, joining us in studio. You touched briefly on getting out in the community. you know that's certainly a big challenge the way the system is set up with this league, with the hub in Arlington. And I know Steve and the folks here with the Showboats did a great job in trying to do that. But it'll take a heroic effort there to be able to do that. What are other ways that the UFL and the Showboats in particular here can get in touch with those prospective fans out there to promote this product, which is a very good product?
Do we have any ideas, Steve? No. What I think the biggest thing is this year there should be change. We know how hard it was last year along that timeline to be able to do this component and to be able to build and to become relevant, become something that somebody's talking about in the Memphis market. The great thing about it was last year, from a budgetary standpoint, when we told the guys, listen, we know in Legacy XFL you guys would go in a little bit early and you would go do a community event. It doesn't look like we're going to be able to do that. There were some things that were going on at the end of your season last year that were complicating some things. So we might just put that on the back burner for now. And our players were like, no. That was one of the things we enjoyed the most. We really enjoyed coming in early and being a part of the community. So we heard that message loud and clear. So we kind of reversed track and found a way to get that done. And again, it's last minute. It was done to the best of our abilities last season. That should improve this year, and we're hoping to get that done. I think we've got to get better reaching out just during the course of the week into the local media areas, whether it's radio, TV, podcasts, something where we're getting some connection back into the community. Some things that we're looking at that potentially could happen in the hub model. Is we're looking for spaces and trying. We have a vision of what we want to really kind of happen in Arlington, and there's some talk this year about potentially, kind of having a little studio where the guys come in and at any time, where our social media people have access to something that's similar to your sound booth here, where you can just pop in and we could come back to you guys and do a live hit or something like that. So we're kicking around a lot of different things, but we know that the biggest thing is connection to the community and the marketplace more than just Friday afternoon when you come in for a Saturday game or Saturday afternoon when you're coming in for a Sunday game. Because a lot of times there's a lot of things going on in those markets, and it just, you don't get the attendance that you wanted to get. We have an issue with our plane getting off on time, and that throws a monkey wrench. And I know that was one of the huge ones here in Memphis. We had a flight that was late, and we missed the whole event, coming in here. So logistically, it's a challenge. So, how do we get that? I think one of the biggest things that I heard as you finish the year and you do an after-action review of everything, the one thing that came from every single one of the 8 markets was we need more long story content on the players so we can get to know them. And we can sell them to the community. So that is one of the big things that has been an emphasis. I heard it loud and clear. I hope everybody else heard it loud and clear that, okay, where do we get these long content stories on our guys so we connect? And already, we had Vince Papale here in Memphis, who's over in Italy, trying out for the Italian flag football team that's going to play in the 2028 Olympics. So, there's some things going on that we can tap into that we need to share with our fan bases. And when we get an opportunity as unique as something like that with Vinny, we got to be able to get that out.
Yeah. You guys have announced you're going to have the Friday night games this year, which is a change. On the field, rule changes, or are there many rule changes, things like that? What will be different, if anything, about this year's games?
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. We really haven't sat down with the rules, which is a good thing, right? Because that means there was nothing at the end of the season that somebody was upset about that we had to talk about. I wouldn't be surprised if it's status quo from this year to next year. The one thing that I did hear, and I heard it from a couple of the head coaches, was, and I'm sure that they were all head coaches from our league, from Legacy USFL, was can we put the 1 point PAT back in? You can move it back if you want to, but can we try to kick for one? A lot of the coaches expressed frustration of an early drive that we were down, and then you miss the extra point going for one from the 2-yard line, and it's a 6-point touchdown drive. And it was just deflating. And we had it happen to us a number of times on an opening drive or that first score. Is there any way we can get back to kind of giving something that's a little bit more guaranteed on the 1 point? And it's funny, I just got some data and some analytics that came off the NFL competition committee. And one of the things that's down this year in the NFL is the success rate on the 2 point PAT. So for some reason, it's getting harder and harder in a condensed space to be able to get 2+ yards to get that point. So I think that that's one of the things we may discuss and kick around. But I think from a player health and safety perspective, I don't think we had any red flags last year that we were concerned about. Our kickoff stayed on par with the version from Legacy XFL and what the NFL is using in season this year. I think the biggest thing is people wonder why we don't have more of the concussion challenges that you would think you would have. I don't know what it is, but our data had 1 concussion last year, and we're using UNCs just like they are in the NFL. We have guys a lot of times that have worked in that area, in that arena. So we really feel that our data is tried and true, and that was one of the reasons why we felt confident in staying with that kickoff. And I'll say this again, if at any point during this journey on this play, as dangerous and as big as those impacts are, if we start to see data from a player health and safety standpoint that starts to shift the other way, then we'll address it. Yeah. But you see, when you take that to the NFL, and they didn't take it exactly how the XFL did it, they kind of took it and put their own modifications on it. The biggest thing right now is if you return the kick, you're almost getting to the 30, which is where you get it if you take a touchback. So there's really no penalties. So everybody's afraid of that explosive play because it really is just a running play. So most of the coaches around the NFL are just like, kick it deep.
Yep.
We're not going to cover it. We don't want to take a chance on giving up a return. So if they ever were to go to the 35,
then it could.
Then you start to have people think about it. But it was interesting because we looked back at it. Has the NFL ever changed a rule like that mid-season? And they haven't. They've waited until the end of the season and then made a tweak going into the playoffs. So it's going to be interesting to see at the end of the regular season, do they make an adjustment with that going into the playoffs? Or are they going to stay true all the way through the regular season and then go back in the offseason and tweak it a little bit?
You addressed attendance and the need to certainly increase all across the board. But ratings for television, I thought they were pretty good. I know you want them to be higher. You're always going to want that. But overall, from a viewing standpoint, what did you think overall of the viewership for the UFL in year one?
I thought it was great, but you always want more. I think you're exactly right. We were better than either league the previous season.
Right.
We were higher than the average combined. I think the biggest thing was a credit to Fox and ABC, ESPN. We got a lot of those games on the network. I think we were 72% on the network. When you can get on the network, it's a huge game changer as opposed to cable and streaming.
Not hard to find.
Exactly. So that I think it was a nice lesson that was learned last year. Let's continue to do that. I think the Friday night window opens that up a little bit more for us. And one of the reasons, obviously, it's a platform that Fox is building, and anything we can do in the spring to help augment that, fantastic. But especially when it opens up an opportunity, on the network. So, those are really important things. I just, when we talk about attendance and we talk about viewership, and I really enjoy watching the access that we give on the sideline to production from TV. And so a lot of the things that viewers are watching on television, we're not being able to see at the stadium. And my biggest concern is we've done such a great job with TV and production. What can we do to create that environment in stadium?
Good point.
And so we're trying to get a consistent exposure to Dean Blandino and Mike Pereira when they go into the booth, and that we can get that pumped in onto the jumbotron. Brock Heward is one of my favorite people that I've had an opportunity to work with during the course of the spring football. And the access that he has with the players and the relationships that he's built over the last 3 years with the coaches. And they get to know him. And you'll see the coach, like, in the middle of the thing on the sideline, and there's Brock Heward right with him. And he'll be asking a question. Well, what about that guy there?
Right.
And so there's some great stuff there. Skip Holtz talking to his quarterbacks on the sideline. It's helpful for a young quarterback coach to watch Skip's demeanor. I mean, it's always positive. It's always constructive. And those are things that it's going to be hard for you to have when you're at the game in person. So I think one of the things that we're looking at is how do we bring some of the great things that we're doing from a production standpoint that goes on TV and bring that into the in-stadium experience for our fans that are at the game.
Well, speaking of television, you also have that that job, or when it comes to the NFL, your job as an analyst there with Fox. Just quickly, your kind of early season thoughts about what the NFL has been. We only have a couple of undefeated teams. I mean, we see more and more the parity throughout the league. It seems like everybody is like 2 or 3 wins right now.
Yeah, probably more so than any other season in the last 5 to 8 right now. Very impressed by Kansas City. Just finding a way. I just, having been a part of a team that won 2 consecutive Super Bowls and going for your third one, there's attrition through injury. There's attrition through players and coaches leaving because of the success you've had up until that point, and free agency. It's hard. It's hard. Every season, it's a new team, and you've got to develop that team and find out exactly what the strengths and weaknesses are. And the teams that are really, really consistent year after year are the ones that don't allow those monumental shifts to happen. Mm-hmm. And Kansas City's done a really, really good job with that. But you can see them transition from those early Super Bowls when Tyreek was there and how they played that way, and it was a wide open offense, and it doesn't matter if you're up 21. We feel like we can come back and get you. And now it's more Steve Spagnuolo, and hey, we don't have that explosive thing on the outside, so we're going to lean on the defense a little bit more here, and just don't lose the game. And that was one of the great things we heard from Patrick Mahomes last year. I had Kansas City late, and he said they were going through that process of where they dropped a lot of footballs and they just weren't playing well. And Patrick said, the biggest thing for me is to know when I can't make that negative play. I can't make that play that's going to flip it the other way because we don't have that ability to get back in the games like we used to. So I've been very impressed with Kansas City, with all the potential history that they could make. The Washington Commanders have to be probably the second best story.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, I know Jim Hoffer was my running back coach in Syracuse, and Jim worked at LSU, and he was there when Jaden Daniels was there. And this is a guy who's coached a lot of football, been around a lot of football. He said he has never seen a college quarterback as good as Jaden Daniels was. Wow. And that's 55 games as a starter. We had Bo Nix last week, which is 61 games as a starter. Mm-hmm. I think Bo could kind of grow into who he's going to become, but he definitely hasn't hit the ground running like Jaden has. And it's such a huge credit to Dan Quinn. And just the culture that he establishes, how positive everything is, his humility to bring in coaches that aren't necessarily people that he's always worked with in the past, but what's best for this team going forward? Who's somebody that can challenge me and make me a better head coach? I mean, it's amazing what he's built and what he's put in place. I think him and Adam Peters together, obviously, you can see that connectivity that they have. But who thought the Commanders would be where they're at right now? And it's been fun to watch. I had him week 1. Jaden Daniels was okay. It was his first game in the NFL. Week 2, you're like, whoa, okay. Week 3, you're like, holy smokes. And he just, every week he's getting better and better.
Helped, right?
I think Cliff does help. And this is not a great offensive line.
Yeah.
It is not a great offensive line in Washington. So that was the biggest concern. You don't have a true number 2. They did in week 1. Now, they got Noah Brown in, but they took Terry McLaurin away. Tampa Bay took Terry McLaurin away, and there was nobody else there. So it's been fun to watch that. And those are the good stories. Those are the good stories that pop up. But you go across the AFC, and the Bills are in trouble, and the Bengals are in trouble. Who's going to challenge Browns
Kansas City?
Browns are a mess. And the Browns are the worst temperature gauge on who you were as a team. The worst thing that happened to the Dallas Cowboys is they played Cleveland in the opener, and nobody knew how bad Cleveland was. Yeah. So they roughed up Cleveland, and now everything's great in Dallas. And then you get the Saints the next week, and you actually get a team that can play some football. So that Cleveland is just, they can make you feel a lot better than you should be feeling right now. So.
Sounds like a former Cowboy you just made that statement.
Yeah.
Last thing for you from a guy who played a long time and did so many interviews, I'm sure, in the locker room. Now it looks like they're trying to get away from that. Not to limit the access of the media, but to do more interviews, maybe all interviews eventually outside of the locker room, whether it be group or individual, whether it be on a podium or not. What are your thoughts about that there could be possibility that they get away from actually allowing media in the locker room?
I've always been about protected spaces, and the locker room is definitely one of those spaces that you would want to be protected. But I get that if it's a loss, guys are going to shower change and they're going to be gone. And so you've got to catch them Probably right at their locker before they get out the door. How do you mandate that? How many people do you bring in post game? What's the cadence to that? Are those guys rolling through that press area? What's the penalty going to be if somebody no-shows when they were requested? There's a lot of logistics to work out there. So for me, we got comfortable with kind of one of those earned spaces of locker rooms. Especially as women became more involved in the sport, and you find a way to make it work. So they have access to come in and do their job as well. For me, that was one of the things that helped me get into broadcasting was if we won a game, there was nobody at my locker post-game. If we lost a game, there were 5 people waiting for me to come to my locker. And I finally asked the guys one time, I said, why aren't you here when we win? You're only here when we lose. I said, you're the only person that will tell us the truth and do it in a way that's very quick and understandable. So we just appreciate your candor and your honesty. When it's a tough moment. It's easy when you win. Yeah. Go ahead. Troy, Emmett, Mike, they're all going to tell you how great they were that afternoon. But so for me, there's that ability to, as a player, wondering what your next career is going to be. To me, that was one of the proving grounds. That was one of the on-the-job trainings. And people will go, how come so many of your guys from the Dallas era are in television and broadcasting and things like that? And it's me, and it's Troy, and it's Michael, and it was Darren Woodson. We got a number of guys that are doing local radio back in their hometowns wherever they've gone back to. Dallas is not a huge media presence like a New York or an LA or a Chicago or a Boston, but it's very intense. And they are talented, and when they ask you a question, it's a tough question, and they don't want any BS. And so it helps you think on your toes. And if you can earn their respect, and if they're complimentary of you leaving there, that's a big feather in your cap. So I hope the long and short is I hope they kind of keep it the way it is right now. I don't know what the reasoning would be to make the change, number one. I'm not a big fan of change for change's sake. I thought we'd already worked through some of the challenges back even to when I was playing, as we started to have more access for the women to come into to that space, and we made accommodations for that. And okay, what is the reasoning now?
I think it's
why?
the COVID. I think the COVID when they got when teams were used to not doing interviews in the locker.
They got it comfortable.
Well, I'm going to tell you, we were impacted because we did Zoom calls. Now we do Zoom calls all the time. It's worked out better than I thought it would because I just didn't think we were going to get the information that we were getting in person. Right. I need to look at somebody's eyes. I need to see their body language. There's a lot of other things that you can get that are non-communicative that you can get an assessment of a player for, and you can't get that on Zoom. I was worried about getting that on Zoom, but I think we're doing okay there. Is it as good as in person? No, but it's functional. But that's a great point because there's so many things that were taken during COVID just because we had to. And then they won't give them back because they don't want to.
Exactly.
And that's not, hey, we had to do this, but now we want that back. I'm like, oh, no. And here's a great one. We just got this recently, last week in our game. We were talking with Sean Payton. And just kind of going through the whole thing. It was right after the Falcons game Thursday night. Okay. And just, hey, what are your timing elements there? When we do Hurricane, when we run the PAT field goal team out there, 15 seconds. We've perfect. We thought we could do it in 16, but then I've heard, nowadays some people are saying they can do it in 14, 15, which is kind of cool. You guys can be, you shave 2 seconds off that. That's huge. And he got into the other. The other one is Timex, and that's kind of what those guys did. How long can we take without burning that time out of catching the ball in bounds, running into the middle, and spiking it and clocking it? And we feel like we can do that in 12. If we're at 7, I think I can get a play in and out of bounds, or I can get a play in and a timeout tag. So if I need 8 more yards, I think we can do that in 6 to 7 seconds. So it was just fun listening to him. And he goes, well, one of the great things about this is, he goes, when we do Hurricane, when we got to run the field goal team out, we can get a little bit further down the field. He goes, because they expanded the sidelines so much during COVID to get spacing, and they never brought it back.
Oh, okay.
They never brought the spacing back. So, and I'm like, is that true? He goes, yeah. He goes, what did it use? I said, it was like the 30 or 35. He goes, yeah. He goes, I think it's a 20 now. He goes, so you'll see all the coaches running down, and they're not out of that box until they get down by the 20, 25. And I'm like, holy cow, I didn't realize that we gave that away during COVID, and then they would never give it back.
So some changes for the good, a lot for the bad from COVID.
Well, and that's the hard thing, right? We were doing it this way because it works. we moved it to this way because we had to.
Mhm.
Can we go back to why
That's a great
where it worked?
It's a great point. It has been a blast to have you here in studio with us. Obviously, we loved what you did on the football field as a player. We love what you do in the booth. We certainly love what you're doing with the UFL. We're looking forward to year number 2 and getting a chance to talk to you as the season progresses. Thank you so much, Daryl.
Yeah, my pleasure. Great to visit with you.
Really
guys.
appreciate
Thank
that.
you.
That is Daryl Johnston, an executive vice president of the UFL. Good to have all the folks from the UFL in town and have him in studio. And, of course, Ken Wisenhunt, the new coach of the Showboats, in studio with us yesterday. We are long overdue for a break. This is Sports 56 Morning, Sports 56, 98.5 FM.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Visit Frontier Western Store today for new shirts and boots. Frontier is your top Carhartt store in the Mid-South. There's thousands of in-stock shirts and jeans. They have the classic K87 pocket tee in every color they make, including new ones just released. Available small to 4X. Want new jeans? Frontier has you covered with super tough work denim by Carhartt. And you've got to check out their selection of Ariat jeans for men, women, and children. You'll love how easy it is to find the size and style you need. Have you seen Frontier's remodeled world-famous boot showroom? It continues to expand. New styles by Ariat just arrived, plus plenty of in-stock proven classics too. Whether you need work or dress boots, trust that Frontier's the place to come. See thousands of pairs of Ariat boots and thousands more by Dan Post, Corral, Durango, Rocky, Twisted X, and others. And Frontier's pricing is lower than online and chain stores, so you know just the local shop to visit. Frontier Western Store, 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch, and on the web at frontierwesternstore.com. Locally owned and operated since 1967.
For over 8 decades, America's farmers have counted on the Little Red Tractor from Case IH, the Farm All, to help them make short work of their demanding chores. Well, Mid-South Ag can show you they aren't just for farms anymore. With horsepower ranging from 30 to 105, plus an army of attachments, they can tackle every chore on your to-do list, from hauling and mowing to loading and towing and then some. Stop by Mid-South Ag Equipment or call 662-890-3141 to find a Case IH Farm All that's right for you.
Don't do it.
Don't do what?
Don't do another Halloween spot for Central Barbecue.
But it's October. Doing a Halloween spot for Central Barbecue is a tradition.
But it doesn't make it a good thing.
Nothing else happens in October.
Baseball?
Not if you're a Cardinals fan. What else you got?
National Candy Corn Day.
No Central Barbecue connection.
Fair point. How about Make a Difference Day?
That's to encourage people to do something constructive for the world.
And going to Central Barbecue isn't?
I'm telling you, it's got to be Halloween.
There's no other choice, I guess.
Hey, Zeke.
Yeah?
This year, give the kiddies ribs on Halloween. They love that.
Seriously, next year, something new.
With all the uncertainty in the economy, the pre-election wobbles. Is my money really safe? That's when I discovered the power of a gold IRA from Noble Gold Investments. It's a tangible asset that can help protect your wealth when times get tough. And with Noble Gold Investments, it was so easy to roll over my existing IRA into a self-directed gold IRA. Their experts guided me through every step. I've diversified my retirement portfolio with something real. Don't wait for the election uncertainty to threaten your financial security. Vote for the timeless safety of gold and silver in 2024. Oh, and hear this. They're giving away up to 10 1-ounce silver Trump coins or a 10-ounce silver American flag bar with a qualifying account. Just visit noblegoldinvestments.com now and use the promo code TRUMP. That's noblegoldinvestments.com.
Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals, including gold, involves risks. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment decision.
The 2025 Range Rover Sport sits right at the heart of the Land Rover lineup, offering a perfect mix of style, performance, and versatility. Smaller and more agile than a full-size Range Rover, it's a great option for everyone who wants luxury and practicality. Every model comes with 8-speed automatic transmission and all-wheel drive standard. Whether you navigate city streets or tackle rough terrain, Range Rover Sport has you covered. Every drive is powerful and breathtaking. The 2025 Range Rover Sport is the epitome of sporty luxury. Test drive one at Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City.
Traffic brought to you by 901 Eats to Go, 3135 Kirby Whitten Road in Bartlett. Pick up, DoorDash, Uber Eats, or online at 901eats.com. Eats with the Z. Good food fast.
Sports Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. Has picked up just a bit in the last few minutes. 40 westbound here at Germantown Parkway, working your way past Sycamore View Road in the Midtown area. Normally it'd be a little bit heavier right now, but it's moving on 240 north here at Lamar. 40 east still has a little bit of traffic coming across the Hernando de Soto Bridge as you work your way over from West Memphis. Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64. They want you to know they are your full-service, family-owned jewelry store right here in Memphis. Go see them this weekend. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports 56 mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers.
Diamonds are forever.
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back. This hour is indeed brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers. 8:43 here in the Family Leisure Studios. Some news from the world of college basketball this morning. I guess this probably isn't really a surprise, although some people, I guess, said it wasn't a done deal. But Carlos Boozer's sons, Cameron and Caden, the twins, have announced their commitment to play at Duke. Cameron is the stud of the two, I guess. He's ranked number 2 in ESPN's rankings, but Caden's ranked number 17. So both really, really good, but Cameron, everybody believes, is like maybe the best high school player in the country right now. So Duke picks up 2 big recruits, the sons of one of their former players, Carlos Boozer, as his kids headed to Duke. Talked earlier about all the things that went on last night, from Major League Baseball to NFL. There was college football. We'll get into some college football coming up in hour number 3, including some stuff that came out of Nashville with the meetings between the SEC and the Big Ten. Of course, Brandon Lang will join us in hour number 3 to handicap some college football and some NFL. Brandon's got it's going to be tough decisions for him. Brandon he loves his home dogs. In the NFL this week, counting last night's game, which the home dog did not cover, there are 9 home underdogs in the NFL this week. So he's going to have a lot to choose from. Of course, the Grizzlies were in action last night. Also last night, the WNBA Finals got underway, and the Minnesota Lynx came back from 18 down to win in overtime, 95-93 over the New York Liberty. Game 2 will be Sunday afternoon. I've got to question the strategy here of the WNBA scheduling their finals. Your finals, Game 1 and Game 2, are going directly head-to-head with the NFL. What are you doing?
Not ideal, you wouldn't think.
Why wouldn't you start it on Wednesday night and then play it on, Saturday? I know it's college football, but, the NFL is the monster of all television things. And your first 2 games of your finals are going to go head-to-head with the NFL?
It's a shame because last night's game was really good.
Yeah, I saw people tweeting all about it. Everybody's going crazy. I was watching the NFL. I was watching the Major League Baseball playoffs. I'm sorry the WNBA is down that list, and I was watching the Grizzlies. Here locally, you had the Grizzlies. So, I don't know. That seems weird to go head-to-head with the NFL. They did announce, I think it was yesterday, that they are going to extend the finals. The WNBA finals next year will be a best of 7. Starting next year will be best of 7. Right now, best of 5. As far as that is concerned. So, I don't know. Speaking of the Grizzlies, again, if you missed it, they did lose last night, 119-94 to the Hornets. And the bigger, I guess, story is that Marcus Smart is the latest guy to have to leave a game with an injury. Although, again, much like John Morant, this is expected to, it's a minor injury, and he is expected to be ready to go for the opener. The Grizzlies will be back in action Saturday night. Tomorrow night, they'll be in Chicago. Monday night, they'll be in Indiana, and then they'll be back home against Miami to wrap up the preseason before the regular season finally gets underway. And that'll be on October the 23rd when they are in Utah. The home opener, of course, the 26th when they host the Orlando Magic. We'll take a break, come back, wrap up hour number 2 right after this. Sports 56 Mornings here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
sip as easy as the last. Tito's handmade vodka tastes just as good with tap water as it does your favorite mixers. Back in the day, Tito distilled, hand-bottled, taste-tested, sent out to a few friends, then taste-tested again to give you the finest juice around. No frills, no flavors, no fancy labels, just the good stuff, just Tito's. For recipes, videos, and more, visit Tito'sVodka.com. Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof, crafted to be savored responsibly.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. In these uncertain economic times, there are so many things as a contractor and a business owner that I cannot control. The rising cost of materials, not to mention fuel and transportation costs. In the last 2 years, shingle prices have almost doubled, and commercial materials have doubled. And I don't have to tell you what fuel costs these days. But you know what I can control? How much markup I put on a project. I have always prided myself in knowing I never gouge a customer. But in an effort to ensure my crews have work and my customers are being treated fairly, I have lowered my profit margin, hoping to give you a price you can live with and keeping my crews busy. So if you need a roof or gutters, please give us a call. Fiveash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. Fiveash Roofing, a proud sponsor of Tiger Athletics and a member of the Tigers home team. 367-0050 or MemphisRoofer.com. 367-0050 or MemphisRoofer.com.
Every success you've had began with a great opportunity. Now there's another one. Last year, University of Maryland Global Campus awarded over $15 million in scholarships to qualified students, including community college students, service members, veterans, and working adults just like you. Now's the perfect time to make your next career move. Learn more at umgc.edu. That's umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus in Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers.
Don't you just love it?
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, 8:51 here in the Family Leisure Studios. Interesting, I was just looking to see if the Memphis, South Florida line had shifted at all with the game being moved away from, so no longer an actual home game for South Florida, being moved to Orlando. And right now, FanDuel doesn't even have it up. FanDuel does not have that game available. I don't know if the others do it. I don't know if they shifted them or not. But right now, they've taken the game down on FanDuel. Memphis yesterday morning was a 7.5-point favorite. But right now, FanDuel does not have it up at all. I haven't had a chance to check the other sports books to see if they have it. But again, Memphis USF tomorrow afternoon now at Camping World Stadium in Orlando. There was some college football last night. Not very good college football, but there was college football. James Madison killed Coastal Carolina 39-7. Louisiana Tech blasted Middle Tennessee State 48-21. Western Kentucky hammered UTEP 44-17. Tonight in college football, 3 games. Big Ten matchup between Maryland and Northwestern. Mountain West matchup, UNLV against Utah State. And then in the Big 12, you got Utah, 16th ranked Utah taking on Arizona State out in Tempe. Utah is expected to have Cam Rising back. Obviously, Utah took the loss, but now they'd expect to have Cam Rising back, see if he could stay healthy the rest of the year. They currently sit at 4-1, 1-1 in the Big 12. Arizona State, the exact same record. Utah, a 5.5-point favorite in that game tonight at Arizona State. And we'll see what kind of a difference Cam Rising can make for them. Of course, obviously, a couple of big games this weekend with the Ohio State-Oregon game in the Big Ten. That's certainly the biggest when you start talking about implications and everything else for the college football playoff when you're talking about the number 2 and number 3 ranked teams in the country. But the Ole Miss LSU game, massive game for both of those teams, as one of them will take their second loss of the year, and that puts you in a lot of trouble. Of course, when it comes to the playoff, Ole Miss still has Georgia on their schedule as well. But that game, we'll have that right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, as we do with all the Ole Miss games. 4:30 pregame, kickoff at 6:30 in that one. You got the Red River rivalry with Texas, number 1 Texas, and Oklahoma. Now, of course, a Big Ten, or an SEC matchup rather than the Big 12. I found this, I couldn't believe this. This is, I believe, like the 120th meeting, something like that, all time between Texas and Oklahoma. And Michael Hawkins Jr., the quarterback for Oklahoma, he will be the first true freshman ever to start for Oklahoma against Texas.
That's crazy.
You think over 120 games, somewhere a true freshman would have started one of them. But no, he's the first one. And how about, I picked Oklahoma yesterday in our pick 6 because this rivalry, weird things tend to happen. Although the more I look at it, you've got a true freshman starting. He's from Dallas. Like, I just wonder if it's going to be, he's just going to be almost like too hyped up. It's going to be too much for him. When you're talking Oklahoma, Texas, you're a Dallas kid playing in Dallas against Texas as a true freshman. Their top receivers out. They actually have their receiving core is decimated. You got Oklahoma with their receiving core decimated, Texas with the running back core decimated. I don't know. I'm obviously I can't change it, but I don't know. I'm starting to worry more about that. Maybe Texas blows them out because it ends up being too much. There's too much stacked against Oklahoma in that one. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about what the SEC Big Ten mean. We've been talking about the fact that SEC and the Big Ten had their meeting in Nashville yesterday. Tony Petitti and Greg Sankey did meet with the media, talked a little bit, and we'll kind of get into a little bit of what they said. Plus, we've got 10 in a row coming up. Your opportunity to win a great prize package. Let me tell you, I have a great prize package put together for you today. You can get on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener line right now if you want to be first up. Get that first crack at that great prize package when we get to 10 in a row to kick off hour number 3. 8:56 the time in the Family Leisure Studio. This hour brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers. Back with hour number 3 after this. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
They're taking care of business in Memphis right on the river with Grind City Brewing and all of their great products. Look, this was a dream come true for a father and son duo. And if you have not been to that brewery right on the river, just to the north of downtown, you're really missing something special. And now you can't miss their products. Wherever you go, you see a brand new label. It's clean, it's beautiful, it's distinctive. You'll know Grind City Brewing, and of course you know their products like Poppy's Pills, that great Pilsner, or Tiger Tail, that very creative craft malt liquor. There's the new Thaddeus Amber Lager. That is absolutely a great light beer. There's the India Pale called Godhopper. It's outstanding. And then there's the Belga, the Belgian-style wheat ale. They keep bringing hits at Grind City Brewing.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out heart-stopping letters, aggressively garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it seem impossible to ever get out of debt. Don't let the tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, the #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in the Fresh Start Initiative, one of the biggest breaks that the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands. Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, they'll fight to get get you the best deal possible. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-627-7754. 800-627-7754. 800-627-7754.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Is your house slash your office building? Impossible! Not if you call Wilson's Pro Wash. Your house, fence, driveway, warehouse, store, hotel, even cars and trucks can all be squeaky clean and beautiful after pressure washing by Wilson's Pro Wash. Wilson's specializes in cleaning all hard surfaces, concrete, stone, brick, and mortar, even wood and vinyl siding. Then Wilson's can seal their surfaces so they stay looking brand new. Call Wilson's Pro Wash, 901-524-6799, or online at wilsonsprowash.com.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. Still a bit of traffic volume trying to make its way inbound on Summer Avenue. Hadn't been too bad, actually, out here in the last hour or so down I-40. A little bit of volume trying to develop on 40 as you head past Watkins there at the 101 connector. It still wants to get a little bit crowded. Certain sections of 385 Billmore Parkway coming inbound, but it looks good for the most part, all the way to 240. Weimer's Jewelry, located at 7525 Highway 64, is your full-service, family-owned jewelry store here in Memphis. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studios, we are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis.
O'clock here in the Family Leisure Studios. Welcome back into Sports 56 Mornings on this Friday, October 11th. Eli Savoy, Elijah Seegers with you on another beautiful day here in Memphis in the Mid-South with sunny skies. Currently 60 degrees on our way up into the mid-80s today. And it's going to be a lot of the same for the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Expected to be pretty much carbon copies of today, which has been a carbon copy of really, it seems like, every day for the last, I don't know how long. We'll have a little bit colder temperatures to start next week with highs only in the upper 60s, but then it will warm up again. And again, there is no rain right now in the forecast for quite some time. This hour of the program is brought to you by Jenkins Floors and More. We come to you live from the Family Leisure Studios. Family Leisure, located at 2120 Witten Road, just north of I-40. Won't be too long with it as the temperatures get a little colder. It'll be perfect hot tub weather. And of course, I've got my hot tub from Family Leisure that I enjoy all the time, whether it be hot or cold. I always enjoy that. And you can check out the wonderful selection they've got right now over at Family Leisure. Coming up later in the hour, in about 25 minutes or so, Brandon Lang joins us to handicap the college and NFL action for the weekend, get his thoughts on what's going to be happening in both college and NFL football. We've got to get into the meetings from the SEC and the Big Ten that happened in Nashville and look at some of the other news and notes and matchups from college football this weekend. But first, it's time for 10 in a row.
Not 5, not 6, not 7, not 8, not 9, but 10 in a row.
10 in a row, and it's brought to you by Napa Cafe, celebrating 26 years in business. That's right, Napa Cafe celebrating 26 years this year. Glenda Hastings, her entire crew over there. To be in business that long in the restaurant business, you know one thing. They produce great food, and you are going to find great food at Napa Cafe. Plus a great atmosphere, especially if you've got a special occasion to celebrate. Check out the private wine cellar over there. That is a great way to celebrate an anniversary or a birthday, a special occasion. They've got 5 dining rooms, great food, great menu. Whether you're just out with a group of friends for a nice dinner or you're celebrating that special occasion. Maybe you're just going to go have yourself an appetizer and a drink during happy hour at the bar. Whatever it is, check them out at Napa Cafe, 5101 Sanderland. Online, napacafe.com. Online, you can make reservations. You can check out the menu. The entire menu is available for pickup as well. They're open Wednesday through Saturday for dinner starting at 5 o'clock. That's Wednesday through Saturday starting at 5 o'clock. Napa Cafe. And again, to make reservations, go to napacafe.com. If you are the winner of 10 in a row today, you will get a $50 gift certificate to Napa Cafe. You will also get a $50 gift certificate to Buster's Butcher. Go over there and get you some delicious meat, maybe to throw on that big green egg, grill up this weekend. That sounds pretty darn good, especially with the weather we're going to have. You got $50 at Napa Cafe. You got $50 at the Buster's Butcher, but I'm not done yet. I'm also going to throw in a $25 gift certificate to East Coast Wings and Grill. So you can go watch the games this weekend and have $25 towards food and drinks over at East Coast Wings and Grill. And I'm still not done. I'll also throw in a couple of Malco movie passes. So you got $50 to Napa Cafe, $50 to Buster's Butcher, $25 to East Coast Wings and Grill, and 2 Malco movie passes. So by my math skills, what's it cost to go to a movie now?
Too much, that's all I'll say.
Not if you have free passes. It's what, probably $12, something like that?
Last time I went, it was almost 20.
Was it really? God, I haven't been to the theater in a long time. So, but my math would tell me this is probably over a $150 prize package. You can go get some great food at Napa, and go buy yourself some great meat at Buster's Butcher. You can cook at home, go enjoy some drinks, food, whatever, at East Coast Wings, and then go check out a movie as well with the Malco Movie Pass. Here is today's category for 10 in a row. We are, of course, right in the middle of the Major League Baseball postseason, so why wouldn't we do a little postseason action here? Top 10 career postseason home run leaders. And this includes ties. I'll actually tell you there are a few more than 10 in the top 10 because there is a big tie for 10th place. Top 10 career postseason home run leaders. So I will give you a name. If they are among the top 10 in most career postseason home runs, then you would say yes. If they are not in the top 10 in career postseason home runs, then you would say no. And if you can get 10 in a row, then you win the prize package. Again, $50 from Napa Cafe, $50 from Buster's Butcher, $25 from East Coast Wings, and a couple of Malco movie passes. Don't be shy. Don't be bashful. Don't be scared to be the first. If you come in first and you win, nobody else ever has a chance. That's the way you do it. 360-8255. 360-8255. The Sicily's Log Cabin listener line. That's the number to play 10 in a row and try and win this really unbelievable. Again, over $150 right there in value in this prize package. I mean, you just got to think about postseason home runs and maybe one who's been to the postseason a lot. How many postseason games are played now versus maybe in the older days? Things like that to think about. I know people are rushing to try and look up the list right now. Don't be afraid. 360-8255. 360-8255 to play 10 in a row. Anthony's not afraid. Anthony's going to lead us off. What's up, Anthony?
How's it going?
Good, man. Here we go. Top 10 career postseason home run leaders, including ties. Albert Pujols.
Yes.
Bernie Williams.
Yes.
David Ortiz.
No.
Jose Altuve.
Yes.
Aaron Judge.
No.
Lou Gehrig.
No.
Mark McGwire.
No.
Mickey Mantle.
No.
Ooh, good run. Really good run. Very nice run there, but didn't get 10. However, set it up great for somebody else on list number 1. He got the first 7 correct and then missed on number 8. So if you're listening closely, you now know the first 8 on that list. Next up is Joanne. Hello, Joanne.
Hello.
Joanne?
Yes, I'm
okay,
here.
Okay, I got you now. All right, here we go. List number 2, top 10 career postseason home run leaders. Derek Jeter.
Yes.
Jim Thome.
No.
Babe Ruth.
No.
Stan Musial.
Yes.
Ooh. Okay. Not a bad start. Not a bad little run, though. Again, that's 4 deep on that one. So we're making quick progress here. Next up is Cal. Hey, Cal.
Hey, what's up?
How you doing, man?
All right.
All right, you get list number 1. You got a good start from Anthony. Albert Pujols.
Yeah.
Bernie Williams.
No.
Ooh. He questioned himself, and he was correct to question himself. Let's go to Mario. Well, Mario, what's up?
Hey, what's up, Eli?
How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. Trying to get on the win streak.
All right, here we go. Derek Jeter.
No.
Oh, that is not a win streak. That's not a win streak. We have regressed on both lists. 360-8255. Let's go to Dan. Hello, Dan.
Hey, Eli. How's it going?
Good. Here we go. Top 10 career postseason home run leaders, including ties. Albert Pujols.
Yes.
Bernie Williams.
Yes.
David Ortiz.
No.
Jose Altuve.
Yes.
Aaron Judge.
No.
Lou Gehrig.
No.
Mark McGwire.
No.
Mickey Mantle.
Yes.
Manny Ramirez.
No.
Ooh. Oh, we're getting close. We're getting close on list 1. We're 9 in now, you should know. Let's see here who's next. This is another Anthony. What's up, Anthony?
How's it going?
Good. Here we go. We go to list 2. Top 10 career postseason home run leaders. Derek Jeter.
Yes.
Jim Thome.
Yes.
Ooh. We're struggling on list 2. But now we go back to list 1. Let's see who it is. It's Randy. Randy, how are you?
Great, man. How are you?
Doing great. All right, here we go. List number 1. We've got 9 deep on this one. Albert Pujols.
Yes.
Bernie Williams.
Yes.
David Ortiz.
No.
Jose Altuve.
Yes.
Aaron Judge.
Yes.
Oh. We regressed again. 360-8255, 360-8255. We have a couple of open lines. Chance to sneak in here and just seize this thing. Let's see what Carl can do. Carl, what's happening?
Hey, doing fine.
All right, we go to list number 2 for Carl. Derek Jeter.
Yes.
Jim Thome.
No.
Babe Ruth.
No.
Stan Musial.
No.
Kyle Schwarber.
Yes.
Bryce Harper.
No.
Reggie Jackson.
No.
Ooh. Reggie's one of those great postseason players. A little older, didn't play as many games, but he had a lot of home runs. Of course, had the 3 home run game in the World Series. All right, we go back to list 1. KC gets the chance. What's up, KC?
What up?
All right. Top 10 career postseason home run leaders. Albert Pujols.
Yeah.
Bernie Williams.
Yeah.
David Ortiz.
No.
Jose Altuve.
Yeah.
Aaron Judge.
No.
Lou Gehrig.
No.
Mark McGwire.
No.
Mickey Mantle.
Yeah.
Manny Ramirez.
Yeah.
Nelson Cruz.
Yeah.
Boom. There's the winner. KC coming through. The KC Royals did not come through last night, but KC comes through today and wins 10 in a row. Congratulations. You got a big-time prize package coming your way. $50 from Napa Cafe, $50 from Buster's Butcher, $25 to East Coast Wings, and a couple of Malco movie passes. Hold on, and Elijah will tell you how you get your prizes. All right. I'll tell you what. Jason's on hold. I'll give Jason a shot on list number 2, and I'll get him. I won't get him that big of a prize package, but I'll get a little prize package if he could win. What's up, Jason?
Not much. How are you today?
I am good. Here we go. Derek Jeter.
Yes.
Jim Thome.
No.
Babe Ruth.
No.
Stan Musial.
No.
Kyle Schwarber.
No.
Nope. There we go. No second chance winner. So the all-time leader in postseason home runs, that would be Manny Ramirez with 29 postseason home runs. Second on that list, and with a great chance to eventually pass him, is Jose Altuve. Yes, tiny little Jose Altuve has 27 postseason home runs in his career. He is second on that list. Bernie Williams is third with 22. Kyle Schwarber, fourth with 21. Derek Jeter, fifth with 20. Albert Pujols has 19. He's tied with the guy we didn't get to on list number 2, Alex Bregman, also 19 home runs. They're tied for sixth. And then other guys I used, Reggie Jackson, Mickey Mantle, Nelson Cruz are all tied for 10th with 18 career postseason home runs. And I can't remember, there was other guys that obviously there are other guys on the list. But I don't have the full list in front of me. Those are the ones that I used in this one. But again, congratulations to our winner. Enjoy that fantastic prize package. Classic Arms, when it comes to the world of firearms, you just don't get any better than Classic Arms. How about 700 firearms in stock? Anything you need, from home defense to hunting guns, rifles, shotguns, handguns, whatever it is, they've got it for you at Classic Arms. And not only do they sell guns, but they also buy guns, and they will trade guns. So they've got new guns and they've got used guns that you'll find at Classic Arms in that over 700 firearms in stock. And they've got all the top names. Any top name that you can imagine, they're going to have it for you. They're the only gun importer here in the Mid-South. They do free gun inspections, free gun appraisals as well. They also do free bore sighting. It's all at Classic Arms. 1740 Germantown Parkway. It's right behind Corky's Barbecue there in Cordova. That shopping center behind Corky's, that's where you'll find them. You can also find them online and shop 24/7. ClassicArmsOfMemphis.com. Not, of course, not only do they have the firearms, but all those other things like ammunition, gun safes, gun cases, holsters, whatever it is that you need in the world of firearms, they've got you taken care of at Classic Arms. So we've been talking this week about the Big Ten and the SEC getting together in Nashville. The ADs were there, Greg Sankey there, Tony Petitti there, talking about various things as the two dominant conferences in college football, talking about possible scheduling stuff between the two conferences and kind of the future of the game. Well, Sankey and Petitti did meet with the media after the meetings yesterday. And as I've said, when we've had these super conference proposals, the two of them that have come out here recently, the SEC and the Big Ten aren't ready to give up power because they think they can make all of that money themselves. They don't need the private investment groups getting involved. And that's one of the things that Petitti said yesterday. Quote, "I have yet to see a single thing in any plan that I've learned details about that contains things that we couldn't do ourselves and our A4 colleagues as well." Talking about the Autonomy 4, P4 is however we want to term them, the four conferences. At the end of the day, there's a strong commitment that you have the ability to do all of this ourselves. The notion that college football is broken, what we do is broken, is just not right. So again, and they did say also that, people, they talked about this whole notion that they're trying to separate themselves and maybe break away themselves. They said that, we talk regularly with the other two commissioners, and Brett Yormark and Jim Phillips. And they said basically why they didn't bring everybody together for these meetings. Now, says it was hard enough to schedule 2 conferences of athletic directors. I can't imagine trying to schedule 4. That is a certainly valid point. However, that's not the reason the other 2 aren't invited. The other 2 aren't invited because they're not on your level, and you want to show that. You 2 run college football. You're getting you're getting more money than the other conferences, even the other A4 conferences. You're getting more money from them than them in the playoff agreement. And you're basically going to determine between the 2 of you what the new playoff is going to look like. They said, we'll share from this with our colleagues, but you don't share everything. This is the start of a conversation for us. I don't think that perception is consistent with our conversation today, where we recognize we're part of a bigger ecosystem, but we're also interested in what might be able to achieve together. They said they're ready to accept the responsibility of leadership. So again, whether you believe all that, I'll leave that up to you. I believe, yeah, they will share. Again, there's no doubt they will share some of this. They also said, basically when it comes to the new college football playoff, where they have to do the new deal, what that format might look like. Basically, and this is a smart thing here, they first want to see what the 12-team playoff looks like. We don't know what the 12-team playoff is going to look like. And so they want to look at that and see, I'm sure both of these conferences, first of all, want to see how many of their teams get selected by the committee. And if they don't get enough, then they'll say, okay, now we need to make sure that it is the 4 automatics or 3 automatics or whatever it is to make sure we get enough teams in there. But again, we'll see where this goes. People there are a lot of people that still believe, and I'm one of them. I still think that in the end, the break-off will be these 2 conferences. And there will be more teams that join them. But in the end, it will be, if there is a break-off, it's going to be just the SEC and the Big Ten doing their own thing, with maybe some still slight slivers of, much like now the group of 5 can get the 1 spot or whatever, those other teams might still have a way to get into a playoff or whatever. But the SEC and the Big Ten, their power over college football is only going to increase. And right now, they're already controlling basically everything. Again, the playoff format stuff will be decided basically by them and ESPN. And the ACC and the Big 12 will be forced to accept it because they have no choice. And so while Sankey and Petiti could talk all they want about, yes, we include the others, in the end, you're not going to include them other than tell them this is what's happening. Take it or leave it. I'd still love to have been a fly on the wall in those meetings to hear exactly what was all discussed. But all of the ADs there, Petiti, Sankey, having these meetings and again, it would be great if they do come up with more games between the 2 conferences scheduled. That's what we want. Like in non-conference games, if you could take the 2 best conferences and get more meetings, more matchups between the 2, that's awesome. We had Texas, Michigan. Let's get more of those. Let's have in the future. That would be great if we could continue to get many more of those top matchups between the top 2 conferences. Up next, we're talking college football. We're talking NFL football. We're handicapping the games with Brandon Lang. He's up next. Sports 56 Mornings here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Hungry for that delicious smash burger flavor? Dyer's Cafe is the original smash burger since 1912 and still still smashing burgers in Collier's historic town square. Come out for their lunch specials Monday through Friday, 11 to 2. Ask about their world-famous split dog and authentic Chicago or New York dog. Try the leaner side of Dyer's with a grilled chicken sandwich or freshly made salad. Also serving Lakes, Delta-raised catfish, Pasquale's tamales, and a customer favorite, hand-breaded onion rings. Dyer's, serving world-famous burgers, dogs, and shakes in Collier's historic town square.
You're a contractor and you need concrete coating and supplies in Memphis fast, and you get this answer? I think we can order that stuff, but you're going to have to wait a few days for delivery. Why wait? Get your concrete coatings and supplies now at TSS Supply, where everything you need is in stock. If you're working in the tri-state Tennessee, Arkansas, Mississippi area, everything you need for concrete coating is at TSS Supply, 5665 East Rains Road, Memphis. TSS Supply specializes only in concrete coatings and supplies all in one place. If you're looking for a particular item, need large quantities, or just have general questions, call 901-729-0565, 729-0565, or you can email your question to Brad at tsssupply.com. The friendly, knowledgeable folks at TSS Supply have over 150 years combined experience in concrete coatings, materials, and supplies. Contractors, are you in town for a job or getting ready to do a job for a customer during their holiday shutdown? Then you should visit TSS Supply for your concrete coatings and supplies. Why wait for materials when TSS Supply has everything you need in stock and they can get it to you today or within 24 hours? TSS Supply, 5665 East Rains Road.
Corky's barbecue. Cooking it up. Down home way. Hickory smoke flavor like a good old day.
Hey y'all, Jimmy Stovall here with Corky's Barbecue. Catering is our specialty. Memphians have trusted Corky's to cater their events for 40 years because we make it easy for you and delicious for your guests. Whether it's 50 people or a crowd of thousands, our experienced team comes to your location, sets up, serves, and ensures everyone enjoys a Corky's all-you-can-eat barbecue buffet starting at only $7.99 per person. You can't beat it. With 40 years of experience, it's easy to see why customers choose Corky's time and time again for all of their catering needs. Visit Corky'sBBQ.com to book us for your next party.
You've heard of James Gaddis Jewelers, but have you heard what they've done lately? Everything. A tremendous selection of diamonds and jewels, gold, silver, and much more. Lots of watches, tons of custom-made jewelry, fine gemstones, bracelets, necklaces, so many choices. Romantics will love the one-of-a-kind estate and vintage jewelry. James Gaddis has experts to help you with wedding and engagement rings, plus 2 repair experts for fine watches and jewelry. Layaway and financing available. James Gaddis Jewelers at 4900 Poplar.
Ole Miss Rebel Yell is back. The Rebel Yell Hotline Radio Show is back on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with Yancey Porter with 24/7 Sports, former Ole Miss defensive tackle Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Ford covering SEC Sports Call, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Darby. From kickoff to free throw to extra innings, your Ole Miss Sports on the Rebel Yell Hotline Show right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56, 560 AM and 98.5 FM. Your Mid-South Sports Station.
Now back to Sports 56 mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Jenkins Stores and more. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
9:26 here in the Family Leisure Studios. Welcome back into Sports 56 mornings on this beautiful Friday here in the Mid-South. Eli and Elijah. The Elis have taken over the Family Leisure Studios. Greg is off today. He'll be back on the program on Monday. Right now, it's time to talk to our buddy, Brandon Lang.
It's time to handicap this week's action. Joining Greg and Eli is sports handicapper Brandon Lang, subject of the movie 2 for the Money.
I mean, I was absolutely nauseous and ready to literally crawl through the TV, track him down with a yellow wiffle ball bat, and just start putting the beating on him.
Get Brandon's plays at BrandonLang.com.
Jack Nicholson, a super kid. You want me on that wall. You need me on that wall. It's like we're code and honor. Who's going to do that? You put him a battery. Who's going to win there?
Also listen to Brandon's betting analysis on the Believe Podcast Network.
He's not going to last very long in the NFL. I don't care what people say. He will be out of the league within 3 years. I guarantee it. You heard it here first. He will be gone. I don't know what his dad does for a living, but whatever his dad does, he will go in the family business.
Now, here's Brandon with Greg and Eli.
BrandonLang.com is the website. Believe Podcast Network and he joins us each and every Friday. He is Brandon Lang. What's up, Brandon?
Also the star of a reality show called Cappers, which will be debuting on the Pluto Network here in the next 3 or 4 weeks.
Oh, okay, good. Because I found Pluto. I'm ready to go.
Get ready to roll. It's epic. Episode 1, I lose the Washington Huskies over Michigan. Episode 2, I come back with a vengeance. So all real, all true. Just good stuff. I'm pretty critical when I see myself on TV. You know, not many people realize this, that after the movie came out, I actually went out in Hollywood and pitched over the next 6 years 3 reality shows. Actually sold 3 reality shows. Actually got paid to film 3 reality shows. USA Network picked up the first one. Travel Channel picked up the second one. And then back to USA Network for the third one. First one I got paid to film. It was basically 5 millionaires gave me $1 million, and I was traveling the U.S. trying to double and triple their money. USA watched it, passed. Next one was Travel Channel, Brandon Bets the World, where I went over to Scotland, had 10 grand, tried to double and triple my money on 3 events. The caber toss, which is the telephone pole over and over. The haggis eating contest, which is their national dish. And 50 sheep herders out in the middle of nowhere running 4 sheep through an obstacle course with their collie dog. That was phenomenal. That Brandon Bets the World you can see on YouTube. It actually aired on Travel Channel, but I didn't get a 10-episode pickup. And then the last one, USA bought it, was a family. It was a gambling show where I teach a family how to handicap. The first event, they bet real money. The second event, they're more on their own, but I kind of still guide them. And then the third event, they handicap it all on their own, and then they got to make their final pick for hopefully $25,000 if they won the first 2 bets. The first event was the World Badminton Championship in San Diego. The second event was drag racing in Bakersfield. And the third event was ballroom dancing in Las Vegas. Great show. Thought I was going to get picked up, and USA Network passed again. So pretty crazy that I'm the only talent in the history of mankind to have gone out in Hollywood, pitched 3 reality shows, sell 3 reality shows, get paid to film 3 reality shows, but couldn't get one to stick on air. So hopefully Cappers, which is really, really good, gambling being legal now, we'll catch on and we'll have a little 3-4 season run. So we'll see what happens.
How was your week last week?
After cashing Syracuse Friday night outright over UNLV, man, the world was my oyster. Then South Carolina no-showed at home. TJ Watt was nowhere to be found on Sunday night on that last drive. And then Monday night, talked myself into the Saints, and that's the last time I'll pull $1 out of my pocket and bet on Derek Carr, rather. The guy buries me every single time. Buries me. I'll never pull $1 out of my pocket on that man again. Never.
He's in
First drive of the game.
He's in Will
right
Levis territory?
Yep. First drive of the game. Saints go right through him. Throws a pick off his back foot. No points. And that's it. Game, set, match. So, anyway.
What was
battle back last night? Had the Niners last night. So good start to the week. And let's grind it. It's funny.
What was the paddle game last week?
I can't remember.
I wasn't here last week.
I want to say, I would have to listen to.
I'll have to go back and listen to it.
My lean, I believe, might have been Pittsburgh. So unless the guys send me the file so I can listen to it, because she got to hammer me pretty good. Only twice this year, though, so far. So I've been dodging the new paddle that she bought. I've been dodging that pretty well. But she's wound up and ready to go this weekend. So we got to figure out what game that was. She thinks it's Pittsburgh. She swears by it. But I'm I don't know.
I'll have to go back and listen.
Yeah, and text me what it is, because she's got a big grin on her face like, yep, I got to beat the dog, you know what, out of you, and now you're getting it again. So
all right, so this
week... Nice done, Mike Tomlin.
This week in the NFL, I feel like it's got to be, your head's got to be spinning, because counting last night, now you went against the home dog last night, but counting last night, if I'm not mistaken, there are 9 home dogs in the NFL this week.
Yep.
Would you love a home dog?
Yep. I love a couple of them. I don't believe in Cincinnati's defense, and I think what the Giants did last week at Seattle, which is a very, very tough place to play, and going in there and playing the way they did, and defensively as we saw last night, Seattle's offense can move the ball. They moved it up and down the field on Detroit. They moved the ball up and down the field against the Niners, and Geno Smith a couple of big turnovers and then a fumble as well. So had 3 turnovers, hard to overcome that. I think the Giants are the right side of the game. As far as Dallas and Detroit is concerned, I'm going to keep saying it. I'm going to keep saying it all year long. And I'm sick and tired of them being lucky. But the Dallas Cowboys are not that good. They're just not. And they just keep living on borrowed time. And I will be shocked, absolutely shocked, if the Detroit Lions, I don't know what their team rushing total is, but this is a whole different animal than the New Orleans Saints, who went in there and blew the doors off them and ran for, I think, two and change. This is the number one offense in the NFL, which will run it right down your throat with probably the best offensive line in the NFL. And people are getting hyped about Dallas because they beat Pittsburgh and, the week before they beat the Giants. And, this is a whole different beast. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think Dallas is going to score. I really do. I think this is probably the highest-scoring game of the week because I think Detroit's secondary can be had. But at the end of the day, they're just not going to be able to stop Detroit. They're not. Listen, Detroit went up and down the field on Seattle every single possession. And for that matter, I can't see him not doing the same thing here. Seriously, if Detroit doesn't score 40, I'll be shocked.
And and Detroit has wanted this because they're still mad about the way that game ended last year with the guy they said didn't report correctly and all that stuff. So Detroit has been waiting to play Dallas again. They want to play Dallas. Oh. I am fully on. As a Cowboys fan, I honestly thought that line was going to be bigger than what it is.
So did I. I thought it was going to be 4.5. And it's funny you say that because as you look at, Detroit, Dak making the thing, we're going to get this win and go into our bye week. I don't think that's really the right thing to say, Dak. I mean, I know you want to believe in your football team, but I just don't think that's the right thing to say. So I'm on Dallas. That's the only really home dog, the Giants, that I like. I had the Niners last night.
What about this one's? Well, because this year in the NFL, if you're a favorite of 6 or more, I think the dogs of 6 or more are 16-2-1 against the spread. Is the number
19-4, 19-4 after the Saints on Monday night.
Okay. The Commanders have been fantastic. Jaden Daniels has been great. They go to Baltimore. Baltimore is a 7-point favorite. That seems like a lot to me in that game.
Sure does. It sure does. I'm staying away from that game for one reason and one reason only. I lean towards the Commanders plus the points just because you watched Arizona play last week and beat the Niners, and they actually looked pretty good. And to know the Commanders went into Arizona, put up a 40 spot. Like, that's just unbelievable. Like, I think 42. Yeah. They put up 42 at Arizona and just destroyed them. Detroit went out there and struggled to score 20. I just don't think the Commanders are a go against right now. I think you just keep riding them until they don't cover a number. I do. I just think that this team is different and this team is scary. The only thing that has me staying away is just how dominant Baltimore was against Buffalo. They just blew the doors off Buffalo 35-10. Mobile quarterback Josh Allen. So I don't know. I would lean towards the Commanders, but I don't see any value.
Speaking of Buffalo, they go to the Jets, and of course the Jets make the move with the coach this week. Bills again, road favorite here. What do you think with the coaching change? Does this ignite the Jets at all?
I've come on your show for years, and after the Buffalo Bills and Leslie Frazier and McDermott blew it against the Chiefs in that playoff game, how many seconds were on the clock when they got a field goal to send to overtime? Was it 22
seconds? I can't remember for sure what that was.
It was something like 22 seconds, and Leslie Frazier went into a prevent, allowed Tyreek Hill a free release for 20 yards, and, they got up to the 45, and then next pass to Kelsey and kept the field going. Since then, I said both of them should have been fired. You needed a whole new coaching staff to come in, and Buffalo was done. I said they're done. With McDermott as the head coach, they will never, ever get to the level that they need to get. And he showed it again last week against the Texans with the clock management.
Yeah, awful.
And I've
Just
been on
awful.
your show multiple but I told yourself multiple times, I said, sat next to Bill Vinovich on a plane flight and had a 2-hour conversation with him about everything under the sun. It was one of the most amazing experiences of my life. And I said, the number one mistake you see as a referee from head coaches in the NFL. And I couldn't have got it out fast with clock management. They don't know how to manage the clock. It's the most unbelievable thing we've ever seen as referees and officials. And so here he is. Do you trust him laying points on the road? I don't. I don't trust Aaron Rodgers, the coach killer, because that's what he is. He's a coach killer.
Yeah.
But in this situation, what we've seen from Buffalo the last couple of weeks, I don't think you can trust them on the road. I don't. I just do not think you can trust them in this spot. And I think the Jets defense at home, and the problem with Buffalo is you're going to go on the road in the NFL and win games as a favorite. You've got to be able to stop the run, and Buffalo can't stop the run. And that could be a problem Monday night.
The Browns are terrible. Deshaun Watson is terrible. I don't know that the Eagles are good enough to be giving 9.5 to anybody, though.
It's crazy. That's such a big number. It's such a big number. But with that being said, I mean, do you really take...
Could you bet on the Browns? Like, they're awful.
You bet on the Browns. I actually told someone, it's my standard saying that I have, listen, I wouldn't be surprised to see the Browns cover that number. That's my way of saying stay away from the game.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be surprised for the Browns to cover that number because their defense really is a pretty good defense. The only thing is if Philly gets up early and Watson has to throw, it could be a problem. I've never seen a franchise in the history of the NFL since I've been alive in more of a dysfunctional place than the Browns are with Deshaun Watson.
Oh.
They made their bed with the devil, and now they're stuck with $200-something million, and the $80 million hit on the salary cap this year, $50 million. It's just unreal that they bought that bill of goods based on the carnage that came with him, and now they're stuck. And it's crazy, absolutely crazy.
One more NFL game. I don't believe in the Broncos at all. Like, I don't know how they're 3-2, quite frankly. Not that I think the Chargers are a great team by any means. And again, it's in Denver. It's a road favorite, but I like the Chargers against the Broncos.
Be careful. That Denver defense is legit. They're legit. I mean, they really are legit. And as highly overrated and as bad as Pittsburgh is, the Chargers went in there and struggled to score 10 points. Pittsburgh's offensive line isn't that good. Pittsburgh's not as good as everybody built them up to be, as we all got hype and Mike Tomlin's got a team and so on and so forth. But be careful, because that Denver defense is legit. And now it's the same saying. You got Justin Herbert going on the road. Yeah, his ankle bothered him a little bit in that Pittsburgh game, but he couldn't do nothing against that Pittsburgh defense. Nothing. And now he's playing what I term to be a better defense. I would tend to lean towards Denver plus the points.
All right, before we go to college here, what are we going to make the paddle game?
Detroit.
Going
Buy it
Detroit?
down to 2.5.
I think that's
Buy it down to 2.5. I will be absolutely shocked if the Detroit Lions lose to this Dallas team, because the Detroit Lions are the New Orleans Saints on steroids. And what the Saints did to them in week 2, I can't see the Lions coming out of their bye week. The weakness is that Ben Johnson and Dan Campbell don't just rip this Cowboy defense apart, and then we can all celebrate the fact they're 3-3 going into their bye week.
All right, college, the biggest one is number 2 versus number 3, Ohio State. Again, we have a home dog here. Oregon getting 3 points at home against Ohio State.
I don't care what this line is. I don't trust Dan Lanning as a football coach. Great recruiter, but in a big game scenario, he had Washington beat twice last year. And the coaching decisions that he made in both those games cost them a chance at the national championship. And now in a big game like this, with a quarterback in Dylan Gabriel, who's prone to mistakes, and I can't back a team that the first game of the year, if Ohio State were laying 49 against Idaho, what do you think Ohio State beats them by? 40?
Probably at least
40. So I can't get behind a team that if you're so talented and you got depth and you're one of the top 5 teams in the country and you play Idaho at home the first game of the year and you're a 49.5 point favorite, you win 24-14. Think about that.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way you're getting me to take Oregon in this situation because Ohio State is a football team. I'm just sorry.
Yep.
I'm going to take Ohio State. Minus points, bite down 2.5.
So you went with South Carolina against Ole Miss last week. That did not work. Ole Miss, a road favorite at LSU, Saturday night in Death Valley.
I'm going to go against them again. I'm going to take LSU. Sorry, I just can't. I watched it. The South Carolina game. They came out, first possession, got to midfield, went for it on 4th and 1, didn't get it, 7-0. Next possession, come out, fumble, 14-0. And that was it. That was it. Shane Beamer said after the game, you know, I've never been this disappointed as a head football coach in my entire career. I really thought we were going to play well. Well, when you go for it on 4th and 1, first possession of the game, put your team down 7-0. Nice job, Shane. Nice job, Shane. You're in the wiffle bat category now. So, yeah, I have anger issues. I have no problem admitting it, and I need therapy. I have no problem admitting it. Watching that game was so frustrating. And you watch South Carolina go to Alabama, cover 21. You watch. You'll sit there and go, wow, they're pretty good. Yeah, the same team that beat Kentucky 31-9.
Alabama off the crazy loss to Vanderbilt. Tennessee off the loss to Arkansas. Both are big favorites this week at home. Do you expect bounce backs from those two teams?
Tennessee, I'm going to leave alone. Like I said, it wouldn't surprise me if now that they're just a huge underdog and the pressure of, you know, playing at home, Alabama's defense struggles. Their secondary is atrocious. It just is. And now coming back home, people think they're just going to light up the scoreboard. I think South Carolina hangs around. I won't touch the game. But it wouldn't surprise me if they show them cover this 21.
And then you've got the Red River rivalry. Texas, a little over 2-touchdown favorite against Oklahoma.
God, it's hard to get my head around that. It just is. Play I like under 50 because I think Oklahoma's got trouble scoring. I think Oklahoma's defense with Venable is capable of keeping this close in this rivalry game. But 14.5, it's almost like they're begging you to take Oklahoma, getting that many points in a rivalry game. But Texas coming off their bye week, Ewers is supposed to be back, Arch Manning back to the bench. Lean towards under 50, staying away from the side.
The kid from Oklahoma, the true freshman quarterback's from Dallas. Like, I feel like a true freshman in that rivalry, a Dallas kid, it might just be too much for him. Like, the whole moment might be too much.
Gun to my head, I would buy the half and lay 14 with Texas. I just think they're the better team. Big moment at home against Tennessee. Oklahoma actually played really, really tough. They really, really did. The score was a lot closer than I believe that 10-point final will lead you to believe. Oklahoma's capable defensively to keep it in it. I think you lose with Texas or stay away, but under 50 seems like the play to me.
All right, I feel like this is a game that you have to. You've been on BYU all year.
I'm gonna ride them again.
I don't understand how they're only a 3-point favorite at home against Arizona.
I'm gonna ride them again. There's I believe only 4 teams in college football that have covered the number every week. BYU, Pittsburgh, Army, Navy. Covered every game. Every game this year. Those 4 teams. I'm going to ride them. I just believe you beat Kansas State 38-9, you're going to be able to beat Arizona. I know they got their quarterback and the stud wide receiver. Everybody's saying going to go in the top 5. I get it. But that place in BYU, in Provo, altitude, that crowd, you saw K-State struggle. I think Arizona's going to struggle.
Yeah.
I know they're coming off a big win at Utah. No Cam Rising for Utah, but I ride BYU until they don't cover.
Yeah, that line really surprised me. Any other college games that you really like?
Nevada at home +4 over Oregon State. Nevada sneaky. And listen, these Big Ten teams that are traveling all the way to the West Coast, I think they're 1-10 straight up. I'm taking USC +5. I don't think Penn State's offense is good enough to go out there and cover that number. Penn State at the Rose Bowl against USC all the way out west. They had to drive 2 hours to an airport because the plane they had to take is bigger than the one they would take near Happy Valley. So a 2-hour bus ride, get on a flight, time change, out in L.A., in the Rose Bowl, laying 5. I like Trojans +5.
Well, it won't be the Rose Bowl. It'll be the Coliseum.
Coliseum. Sorry, I get that mixed up. But anyway.
But yes,
Thank you.
Your point is well taken. Yeah, I mean this is we're seeing this all for the first year with these teams traveling cross country for conference games. It's a whole different beast, no doubt about that. He is Brandon Lang. BrandonLang.com is the website. The Believe Podcast Network. You can hear him there with his betting analysis. Of course, you can hear him every Friday with us right here on Sports 56 Mornings. Brandon, have a great weekend, man.
Thanks, bud.
All right, Brandon Lang. Yeah, that BYU, I knew he would love BYU. BYU, I don't like, it feels like the books haven't adjusted to BYU yet. I don't know. 3 points against Arizona. Seems like a gift from the gods right there. Speaking of gifts, not from the gods, but maybe a gift from you to somebody special. How about a special piece of jewelry from Genesis Diamonds? That's right, Genesis Diamonds, Poplar and Perkins Extended. When it comes to jewelry, you're not going to beat it. Selection, price, service. They are top of the line in all 3 categories. Think about getting that engagement ring? Go see the folks at Genesis. Top designers, unbelievable selection of diamonds at great prices. Something that she is absolutely going to love. But maybe it's just a pair of earrings or a necklace, or maybe you're looking for something for yourself. How about maybe one of those pre-owned Rolex watches? You'll find it all at Genesis Diamonds, Poplar, and Perkins Extended. Back to wrap up this edition of Sports 56 Mornings right after this on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Summer may be over, but yard work, it goes on. Don't worry, Colonial Hardware makes it easy for you. Colonial Hardware has all the lawn and garden tools you need from the best brands in the business. Ferris, Snapper, Husqvarna, Toro, Echo, Shindaiwa, and Billigo. Servicing most brands of lawn equipment, Colonial's master service techs will keep you going year-round. Colonial Hardware, family-owned and operated, and serving you for nearly 50 years. Thanks to Bass Pro and Lincoln at Sycamore View, and online at colonialhardwareinc.com.
Hi, I'm Finley Lavin, defender for University of Memphis Women's Soccer. Southern Security offers the latest in technology with our personal teller machines. Our PTMs allow you to speak in real time with a Southern Security team member. The experience and service you trust and know, delivered at your convenience. To locate a PTM near you, visit us online at southernsecurity.org or call 901-452-7900. Southern Security is a proud supporter of the University of Memphis Athletics and 901 Women, federally insured by NCUA.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 95 FM. This hour brought to you by Jenkins Floors and More. And once again, Barbara Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, 9:50 here in the Family Leisure Studios. A couple of things on Brandon's, what he said. Again, the BYU thing I love. And I am, as a Cowboys fan, 100% with him on the Lions this weekend. Now, I probably won't bet it because that would be breaking my rule of betting on the NFL, which is impossible. I firmly believe betting on the NFL literally is impossible to actually win money. But the Lions, with the way they were lost last year to the Cowboys, with the linemen did not report correctly on the tackle eligible play. They have been, Dan Campbell's been frothing at the mouth to get another chance at the Cowboys. They thought they were going to get in the playoffs, but of course the Cowboys choked and couldn't stop Green Bay, so they didn't get the Cowboys in the playoffs. They've been waiting for this, I believe. And he's right. I don't see why the Lions don't just go up and down the field against the Cowboys. So I love the Lions in that one. He's all over Ohio State. I get his. As he points that out, you did think about that. The chances that Oregon had last year against Washington and just found a way to lose those games. Maybe in big games they just can't get it done. But I, for some reason, think Oregon's going to win this week at home, but then lose the Big Ten championship game in a rematch against Ohio State. But what a weekend we've got for sports. I mean, again, tonight, Game 5 in the National League Division Series, Padres-Dodgers. The winner advancing to take on the Mets. The NLCS will get underway on Sunday between the Mets and the winner of this. Tomorrow night, Game 5, Guardians and Tigers. So you got 2 winner-take-all games in the Major League Baseball playoffs, plus the NLCS gets underway this weekend. College football, again, number 2 versus number 3. We got number 2 versus number 3 this week. You don't get these very often. We've got it this week in college football with Ohio State, Oregon. Not to mention the Red River rivalry. Not to mention Tennessee, Florida, which, yeah, granted, it's not the matchup that it normally is because Florida's down, but it's still Tennessee, Florida. I mean, you got some pretty good. You got Ole Miss going to Death Valley on Saturday night. It's weird. LSU seems to be the SEC team that kind of has been lost in the shuffle a little bit. Everybody talks about going into the year, it was obviously Georgia, Alabama, Ole Miss, and who am I missing of the 4 top teams? Texas. Then Tennessee got off to the hot start, so Tennessee became part of that group of 5. And LSU's just kind of always been out, hanging out on the outside. They lose that opener to USC, they kind of got forgotten about. But if LSU could beat Ole Miss, LSU's right there. So, the loser of that game with 2 losses, in a whole bunch of trouble. But the winner of that game is right there in the mix of things, once again. So that's a great game. Obviously, you got the Tigers, USF in Orlando after being moved from Tampa. If you're into preseason basketball, you got the Grizzlies again tomorrow night in Chicago. WNBA finals continuing. Obviously, the NFL Sunday, which again, with all those home dogs, going to be I feel like it could be a weird Sunday. And again, with the fact that 6+ point favorites this year have been terrible. What he said, Brandon said 19-4. 6+ point underdogs are 19-4 against the spread this year. So if you're looking for that in the NFL, that would be the Falcons right now, or the Panthers, 6-point dog against the Falcons. The Commanders, a 7-point dog against the Ravens. The Patriots, 6.5-point dogs against the Texans. The Browns, 9.5 versus the Eagles. Those are the 4 that are 6 or more right now as far as the Lions are concerned. But absolutely going to be another great weekend with all of the different sports going on at the same time. You just can't beat this time of year. And mix in a literally perfect weekend weather-wise. Can't ask for anything more. And sunny skies, mid-80s for temperatures. That's what we're expecting all weekend long. That's going to do it for us today. I want to say a big thank you to, of course, John Varlas, joining us from Sevierville today, all the way across the state. Thanks to Daryl Johnston as well. Also, Brandon Lang, as he does each and every Friday, joining us here on the program. Coming up next, you've got Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. That comes your way for the next hour before John Harden steps in with Happy Hour here on Sports 56. The Eli takeover of the Family Leisure Studios is complete. Greg will be back on Monday. Unfortunately, we got to find another Eli. We got to get Eli Manning in studio.
Got to have another one.
We got to get the Eli should be taking over the world. There's a lot more of us these days than there used to be, and I'm happy about that. But thanks to Elijah Seegers for a job well done once again today on that. Thanks for all of you out there listening, your phone calls, your texts, everything else. We certainly appreciate you being a part of the program each and every day here on Sports 56 Mornings. Have yourself a great weekend. Again, enjoy all of the great sports action. Enjoy the great weather. We will talk to you again bright and early Monday morning. Sports 56 Mornings here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Simple, smooth, and every sip as easy as the last. Tito's handmade vodka tastes